88, but we can still handle it. Saturday, sunny and 86. Sunday, sunny and 83. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Okay, I'm still good. Okay.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree
Pots
Experts.
are
Your
roll.
trees deserve
I'm ready.
the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts.
Okay.
This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Always fun filling in for Mark Reardon. I'm Heidi Harrison for Mark Reardon. Getting to hang out with some of my favorite people in the whole wide world, including Ethan. Young Ethan, we call you. There's a young Ethan and there's older Ethan. We're not going to say old Ethan. We'll say young Ethan and older, right?
Yeah, we'll give him the respect that he is deserved. But it could even be young and younger Ethan if we really want to be kind to him. But you're the show host today, so you get to choose that.
Just make up names as I go along. Got Sue here and Fred. I'm so happy to work with all of you guys. Mark's taking a couple of well-deserved days off. I'm guessing he is at a specific golf tournament. Would I be wrong in assuming that?
Well, there's a bell on the other side of the studio that there's Sue. She's got her bell. She was ready to go. Yes, that he is at the BMW Championship. Today and tomorrow. He was there the last couple of days as well. So he is. This is like his Christmas, Heidi.
Okay, his Super Bowl, his Christmas, all that good stuff. Getting it's not everybody who gets to play golf with senators and things like that. So good for him. All the good stuff that they're doing with the pros and everything. So it's going to be a great weekend. It looks like for golf in the St. Louis area. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, the weather's looking really good up to this point, and we had Dave Murray on yesterday afternoon to talk through some of it, and of course you hear the weather updates every hour. Everything's sounding like it's going to be nice this weekend, so whether you're golfing or not, it's nice. Hopefully we're through all of the horrible St. Louis heat that we get around this time, or around this time of year every year.
Okay, you're going to whine about it because you want me to share my weather report with you, my friend? Or you don't
I
don't want to hear it?
I don't want to hear it. Listen, I've experienced Las Vegas heat, but they both suck, but they suck in different ways because it's just so dry out there.
It is dry, and you get into the car and it's 140 degrees. I mean, there are things that blow up in your car in Vegas. Cans that you look at and you think, oh, well, hairspray or whatever, and you think, oh, it says don't store it above 120 degrees. You pay no attention to that warning until it blows up in your car. Literally, it will blow up in your car.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the truth, Sue. A friend of mine had a can of Fix-A-Flat blow up in her car. Got little pieces of whatever Fix-A-Flat is made out of all over her car. That's how hot it gets. I know. But, we get through it. We just get through it and we stay in the air conditioning if we can. But you're right. When it's humid, it's worse. And we whine a lot here in Vegas when it's humid. That's for sure. But it's great. It's great that you're getting a great weekend for golf. It's going to be a lot of fun. How exciting to get all these pros out there for that great event. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it's the play is underway. I haven't seen the leaderboards and what that is looking like so far, but it'll almost be a little bit of a show reunion out there because Sue's going to make her way out there on Saturday, and then Alex Rich, who is weekly, joins us in the 4:00 hour on Wednesdays. He's going to be out there as well. So I'm sure that some of the Reardon Show personalities are going to see each other at some point over the weekend.
That's fun. That's it. It's good to get those nice days when it's great and it's a great sport, and that's always a lot of fun. So that's going to be great. He'll be returned on Monday. I did find this funny today. I know you guys have talked a lot about the WNBA, and I don't even really watch the WNBA. I know about Sophie and Caitlin and all this stuff. I get all that. So I pay attention to the news, but I can't tell you that I've ever watched an entire game. But anyway, one of the best teams in the country, as we know, is in Las Vegas. And Asia Wilson, it was funny because there's talk of them bringing an NBA team into Las Vegas. And we've got the Super Bowl there sometimes. Now we've got a great stadium. Looks like a giant Roomba if you haven't seen it. Major League this, Major League that. I mean, it's really a sports town in a lot of ways. But here's the funny headline. I know you guys all appreciate this. Asia Wilson, once again, I don't care what you think about the WNBA. She's a great player. Regardless of how you feel about anything regarding the girls, she is great. But she says she's ready to welcome the NBA to Southern Nevada, but she doesn't want the potential team to steal their spotlight. Because no one's going to pay attention to them once the NBA comes to Vegas. No one does anyway, right? She said, I just don't need them to steal our shine because we got some good shine here. We brought a lot of shiny things here. Don't you find it funny? On the one hand, have they decided whether they're going to recruit some of these guys to play in the WNBA? You know, there are a couple of guys who declared their eligibility. What's the latest on that? Ethan, the expert on sports, anything? You heard anything yet?
No, for those that are not in the loop on that, you know, obviously, you know, with Sophie Cunningham and everything going on in the transgender athlete debate, there's a lot of people that have come out in support, you know, saying support trans, support this or that. And there was a couple of former athletes, Enes Kanter Freedom, one of them, former NBA player himself, began to identifying as a woman solely so that he could enter or declare for the 2027 WNBA draft. The WNBA has not said that they are going to allow for these players to enter into the draft, actually, but they did have a meeting this past week trying to define a woman and what exactly, you know, their definition so that they could go forward and have a little bit more of an idea as to what this looks like. It's been a disaster for the WNBA. They just continue to screw up the spotlight that they have gotten from athletes like Caitlin Clark, who have done a lot of good things for the sport, bringing attention to it. They just continue to screw up the attention that they're getting.
Isn't that the truth? I mean, they should be capitalizing on this, and they should be grateful that anybody's paying attention to any of their players.
And yet they still can't define what a woman is. And I know everyone's tired of hearing that whole topic. I'm kind of am too. But it's going to come to light if they have not established that a woman is a woman. And if you're a man, then you shouldn't be on the team, right? Well, it's just a mess. It's an absolute mess, the whole thing. And the attention they've gotten is because of people like Sophie and Caitlin. And not just because they're white, but because people are paying attention to what they do. And you've got people trying to literally, I think, kill them on the court is what I'm seeing. And people don't seem to care about that. And I don't think a lot of people realized how bad the WNBA was politically until this whole thing came to light with Sophie and Caitlin. Did you? I mean, I know you follow mainly baseball, Ethan, and football and that kind of thing. I mean, did you have any idea how political the WNBA was? I didn't, because I didn't really pay that much attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, not really. And part of it was because of the lack of attention. There seems to be this bitterness, this disdain against Caitlin Clark, and what she has done for the league. A lack of, I don't know if I would say, I guess a lack of gratitude, because it just seems like the league itself has turned her into a villain, and I don't understand why exactly that is. It makes no sense, but unfortunately, you're seeing, you know, Caitlin Clark, you're seeing Sophie Cunningham, you're seeing them get beat up a lot out there, a lot of hard fouls, and unfortunately, they aren't getting the calls that they should be getting a lot of the time. You know, the game is going to be in a bad spot if you don't have players like Caitlin Clark out there with that talent and doing what she is doing. That's why people are entertained by it. It's not because of her skin color. It's because she can pull up from the logo and hit a shot, and no one else in the league can do it like that, and people are entertained by that. But when she's hurt, then you're losing out on the attention that comes when she's there. Courts, arenas sell out when she is there, so you have to keep her healthy, and it certainly doesn't help when she's getting pushed around and, you know, poked in the eye, and people are landing on her neck and stuff. It's just it's ridiculous, the lack of accountability that the WNBA, the referees, the officials are, you know, not providing, despite her getting beat up and being, you know, the face of the league.
Yeah, it's truly amazing. And I wonder how long it's going to be. I saw her debut. What was it, NBC that she was on? I forgot. She's very good on TV. And I'm sure Sophie would be too. I mean, she's got the TV looks, obviously, and everything, and then the charisma. But if I'm those girls, I might get to the point where I say, you know what, the heck with you guys. I'm going to go get in the booth, and I'm going to be done getting beat up, not because they're quitters, but because they're going to be done getting beat up. and they're going to go for a better job that a lot of these other women aren't going to get, not because of the color of their skin, but because they're just so nasty toward these other girls. That's what I would think. I saw something about Sophie's shoes selling out in like 5 seconds, something like that. The first day or something, she created a shoe line everybody wanted. So, yeah, it's sad that it has to be this way, because the people who are the best at whatever game it is you're playing should be celebrated and not vilified. I remember, how many years was everybody watching golf only because Tiger Woods was there? It's not a racial thing, guys. It's not about race, because there were many times, and I'm not necessarily a huge golf fan. I like it, but don't know as much as I should about it. But I'd watch if Tiger was in the tournament, and then when he wasn't there, I think a lot of people felt that way for a very, very long time. And so, when you've got somebody who gets the eyeballs on the sport, whatever the sport is, those are the people you should be celebrating, not trying to destroy, as far as I'm concerned. All right, lots coming up on the Mark Reardon Show today. Once again, I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon. We're going to be speaking with the St. Charles County Police Chief, Kurt Frisz. That's coming up a little bit later, because he, at bottom of the hour, matter of fact, he has decided to end his department's contract with Flock. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to these Flock cameras all over the country and the abuses that are happening with that. So we'll talk with him about that and get some information, because hats off to him. People are following ex-wives, ex-girlfriends on these cameras. Needs to be discussed. So we'll get to that. Ira Mehlman's going to join us from the Federation for American Immigration Reform. He'll be joining us about a woman who was killed, 42 years old, killed by a 19-year-old illegal alien. And also the Fifth Circuit is considering a right to release for illegal aliens. Like, you have a right to get out of jail until we decide, until your case, goes through the courts. No. You're not supposed to be here at all. We'll talk about that and other things coming up right after the break. I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
I'll tell you what, not a bad commute at this hour, but an issue or two. And one of those is an accident on northbound 55. And this one is approaching Imperial, Maine. They've got the right lane blocked, and there's a little bit of a delay in that area. But southbound is fine. If you're taking that out of downtown, we are in great shape. Now, southbound 270, some moderate volume. It's in pockets from Page down through the Clayton Road overpass. Westbound 6440 lines up right at 270. Eastbound is a little bit slow at Timberlake Manor. And then westbound picks up again, Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through the 70 split. 70 westbound, moderate volume at Zumbel, at K, and again at Wentzville. On the Illinois side, a jam, westbound 64 at 157, and eastbound approaching 159, all due to road work. And 5570 eastbound is slow approaching 111. Again, all due to road work. This report brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. BarronMirror.com. We want to congratulate them. It's their 50-year anniversary. And you don't stay in business that long by not supplying quality products, outstanding service, and having a really experienced staff. So contact Barron Mirror Glass and Door today and let them show you why 50 years is just the beginning. Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. License number GL250000615.
Hey, Dad, what causes drains to clog?
Grease, hair, soap scum, and tree roots.
Tree roots?
This town has old pipes and big trees. They find each other.
They grow inside pipes?
They bust into pipes.
Whoa.
Once they're in, the water stops flowing.
Can we fix it?
The big green grasser machine can fix any clog.
Green is always grasser at grasserhomeservices.com.
Do you have burning, tingling, or numbness in your feet, hands, or legs? Is neuropathy making it harder to walk safely, forcing you to watch every step, grip railings, or live with the fear of falling? If you've been told there's nothing that can be done for neuropathy, that isn't the full story. At Comprehensive Integrative Healthcare, we don't just label symptoms. We evaluate the underlying factors that may be contributing to nerve dysfunction. Our focus is helping reduce neuropathy symptoms, improving balance, and supporting better daily function, so you can stay active and independent longer. Most people don't realize neuropathy often progresses over time, and when it worsens, symptoms can become more limiting and more difficult to manage. Imagine being able to walk with more confidence again, sleep without burning or tingling waking you up, and stop constantly worrying about your next step. Right now, we're offering a free neuropathy consultation to determine if you may be a candidate for care. Call now to schedule your appointment at 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188. Don't wait until symptoms get worse. Call 636-538-5188 today.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Heidi Harrison from Mark Reardon. He's taking a couple of well-deserved days off to hang out on the golf course. I mean, I could lie to you, but that's the truth. But he comes back on Monday. I promise he'll return on Monday. Always having a good time with some of my favorite people in the radio business. Another one of the people I've loved talking to for years, Ira Mehlman from the Federation for American Immigration Reform. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing well. So let's talk about two things. I want to start with this brief that the Federation for American Immigration Reform has filed with the U.S. Court of Appeals. The idea that we even have to talk about illegals getting out of jail or detention and then, waiting until their case, is processed before they're having to go back in is ridiculous. I mean, this should be an automatic situation, correct?
It should be. The law is pretty specific. It says that if you are entering the country illegally or you're caught in the interior of the country illegally, you will either have to be detained or put back across the border. The law is pretty clear on this. And the fact that the Biden administration wasn't doing that was the impetus for this mass rush of people to come across the border. They knew that under the Biden administration, they'd be processed and released probably within 24 to 48 hours, given a court date sometime in the 2030s, and they'd get to stay here. Maybe they disappear. Maybe they find some other reason. But this is the way it is supposed to be. You can't let people in en masse. We had some 10 million people cross the border illegally under the Biden administration, and now they want us to get rid of them one by one. That's gaming the system to a point where, heads they win, tails we lose.
Yeah, because they're saying that they're entitled to a bond hearing and possible release into this country pending the removal. I mean, like you said, that completely goes against the way the law, the way the law is supposed to be. It's crazy.
Yeah. And look, if we go through these case by case, we'll probably be talking, 20, 30 years before any of them get to their day to on the bond hearing. So the fact is the law says that if you are in the country illegally, you should be detained or put back across the border. And by the way, these people do have an option. They can simply say, you know what, I have no valid reason for remaining here in the United States. I'm going to lose my case. Rather than being held in detention, I'm going to voluntarily return on my own. And if you present it to them that way, a lot of people simply say, yeah, let's skip this whole process. Let's skip the detention. I'm going home.
I have a former producer I worked with for years in radio who now works in the immigration scene. He's a paralegal now. And he said, you can't believe how many people who were trying to do the process legally through his law firm. He calls them now. They're gone. They've already gone back home to wherever they were from. They're not even around anymore. And to your point, you can easily leave if you want to. The door is always open.
Yeah, and the attraction under the Biden administration was that you could stay here for years and years. You'd get work authorization. Maybe you show up in 2032 for your hearing. Maybe you don't. But in the meantime, you're here. You're looking for other ways to make a claim to remain here in the United States. And that's what leads to these mass waves of people coming across the border. Spain just recently said, we'll give everybody amnesty. And we saw what happened just in Spain a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we have to stop incentivizing people from crossing our borders illegally, make it clear to them that if we catch you, you're going to be detained or you're going to be put back, but you're not getting released into the country.
Absolutely not. We're speaking with Ira Mehlman. He's Federation for American Immigration Reform. I'm Heidi Harrison for Mark. The next story I want to talk to you about is a 42-year-old woman who apparently worked with a 19-year-old guy who was illegal, released by the Biden administration in 2024. He kills her in a vicious way in Virginia. Here we go again.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is an all too common story. And there's another example. Somebody who was caught entering the country illegally and released into the United States. He's 19 years old now. Under the Biden administration, he probably came as an unaccompanied minor. He was probably one of the hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied minors that were released into the country, and the Department of Health and Human Services, which is supposed to track them, probably has no idea where he is until he wound up on a police blotter. But this is the sort of things that we're subjecting our own citizens to. And now you have in Virginia a new governor and a new administration that has basically said they're going to refuse to cooperate with federal immigration authorities. I have not heard that he had been previously arrested in Virginia and then released. But in another circumstance, he might very well have been one of the people that Virginia now just puts back out on the street and says, ICE, go find him yourself.
Yeah, one of the things that people forget, and I don't know if you know this, but I'm now doing a crime podcast. It's called Shameless Plug Vegas Crime Files, okay? And I talk about with the people who were actually involved in the crime, the investigators, that kind of thing, okay? It's firsthand stuff, not a Google script. And I did one a week or so ago, once again, Vegas Crime Files, about MS-13, because a friend of mine was chasing the MS-13 guys around, three of whom were just convicted, as you may know, in Vegas a couple of weeks ago. And the things that they do to people, we don't even want to talk about here on a family show. Put it on the podcast, but pretty awful. But the main thing, one of the things that we talked about was how these people will come in here from other countries if they're illegally in here, and sometimes even legally here. When these gang members get over the border illegally, they're terrorizing their own community. So if you're from El Salvador, you're coming in, you want to be a gang member, you get recruited into the gang, whatever, you are basically hurting the people in your own community. Nobody wants to speak about that, because if you want people to be safe, immigrants, especially legal immigrants, you want them to be safe. You can't allow illegals to go back and forth across the border. And that's what they dealt with when they were chasing these guys around under the Biden administration, because they'd be out on Friday, back on Monday, and they couldn't get rid of them.
Right. Nobody wants criminal aliens living in the United States, especially violent ones who go around killing people. And as you're right, the people who happen to live closest, namely the people that share their ethnic background, they're the ones who are usually victimized. In many cases, these are people themselves who were smuggled into the United States and owe money to the gangs that got them into the country. So we're just creating a system here where people are being abused. We understand why they're coming here. And then once they're here, those same gangs terrorize them here in the United States or threaten to terrorize their relatives back home. So it's just a bad situation all around. And there's no excuse for it. And there's certainly no excuse for local governments that refuse to turn over these criminal aliens when they arrest them for other offenses. And very often they go out and commit other crimes, such as that poor girl in Chicago a few months ago. The Chicago police had arrested the murderer, put him back out on the street. And nobody is ever held accountable. That's the really sad part. None of these officials who make these policies are ever held accountable for these decisions.
Yeah, my friend was telling me about a young kid they talked to who was from El Salvador. Nice kid, lived in an apartment complex. They were just walking around the apartment complex trying to be low key, just trying to get some information. The kid said, look, I'm working in a restaurant. I don't want to be a part of a gang, blah, 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 blah. He didn't tell them anything. And they killed him. The gang members that night picked him up, tortured him, and killed him. This young kid who was just trying to make something of his life in America. I don't know if he was legal or illegally here. But this is what happens. And if you supposedly care so much about these illegals and you want people to be able to come into the country, well, where's your compassion? It should be directed toward these people who are victimized by these illegal aliens in many cases.
Yeah, and we are starting to do that. And the Trump administration has stopped the huge flow of people coming across the border illegally. They have slowed down the criminal gangs that not only smuggle people but drugs and contraband into the United States. And now they are embarking on an effort to remove the people who are here from the United States. And of course, you have these local officials who, they'll stand in front of Delaney Hall in Newark, New Jersey to defend the criminal aliens that they're trying to deport. You have the folks in Minneapolis, all across the country in these sanctuary jurisdictions. You have supposedly responsible leaders, elected officials who are trying to keep these criminals in the communities where people don't want them.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Well, thank you for continuing the fight. Ira Mehlman, Federation for American Immigration Reform. Thank you, my friend. Always great to talk to you.
Great talking to you. Bye.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got some volume out there on southbound 55, a little bit at Butler Hill and a little bit as you approach Herculaneum, just south of Highway M. And of course, this is in areas with some serious road work going on. Now, westbound 70 out of downtown is slowing, approaching Cave Springs. There's some moderate volume at K and at Wentzville. 6440 is the usual. That means approaching Hampton out through McCausland. Moderate volume headed for 270, and then it slows again at Prospect. Now, eastbound 270, some moderate volume right at the Chain of Rocks Bridge and also at 203. And southbound 270, a little bit of volume there. Most of it is 6440 down through Doherty Ferry. Now, the worst of it is on the Illinois side. So much road work. And 5570 eastbound jams at 203, westbound 64 jams approaching 157, and eastbound jams from 157 to 159. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Hi, I'm Eric. And I'm Howard. We're the pain guys of Canner and Pintaluga. You already know after an accident to call 911 and then 411. 1-800-411-PAIN.
But you may not know behind the number is an experienced law firm with nearly 100 attorneys working hard for our clients.
Call the pain guys at 1-800-411-PAIN.
Law offices of Canner and Pintaluga, Kyle Conhauser, Esquire. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Offices throughout the U.S. Not all lawyers licensed in all jurisdictions.
This station is now conducting a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
Still great offers from Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage, and we have a couple of them. So for those of you who would like to purchase a home, and maybe you've been on the sidelines because you know that the rates are, higher than they used to be, and you have a low rate in the home you're in. But Stewie's going to do something very special for you here. He's going to discount that 30-year mortgage for 1% for the first year. That's going to save money. Plus, you get the bagel loan. And the bagel loan is amazing. If you go from an FHA to a conventional on a refi, same thing. 1% discount for you, too. So that's awesome, and it's a really great deal. Look, when you refi, when you get the bagel loan, no appraisal fees, no closing costs, no title fees, no broker fees. It's a smart thing to do. His whole goal is to save you money, and that's what they do very, very effectively here in St. Louis on a regular basis. We give you his cell phone number, 314-324-4440. Hit Stewie up. Ask about refis or purchases. Ask about the discount. Ask about the bagel loan, too. Stewart's American Mortgage, NMLS number 226715.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The time is 3:32. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
From Cottleville to Maryville, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Heidi Harrison for Mark Reardon. It's National Radio Day. We're going to talk about that coming up. National Radio Day. Can you even imagine? I don't know about you guys, but I do not like flock cameras. They seem to be showing up all over the country, and there have been some, let's just put it this way, there have been some abuses of the system. St. Charles County Police Department has announced they're discontinuing the use of these, and I'm so thrilled about that. The police chief joins us. Kurt Frisz joins the Mark Reardon Show. I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon. How are you, sir? Nice to have you.
I'm doing well, Heidi. Thanks.
Can I just applaud you? Thank you very much for doing something for the great people of St. Charles County, because people don't like these. You tell me why you decided to do it.
Well, we've had problems with the system before as far as the auditing procedures and what's available and how to audit, and accountability on ourselves. And when we recently conducted an audit, we found an issue that we addressed directly. And then after talking about what we get out of the system, and it's a great tool. The license plate reader system is a great tool for law enforcement, but the flock system is not the most user-friendly for us, and so we decided to discontinue the service.
Yeah, I see that on August 14th, at a press release you put out, you were informed of an abnormal pattern of searches by one civilian employee. And I've heard about this all over the country, where people are looking up ex-wives, ex-girlfriends, and being able to track their license plate. So how much can you tell me about that particular incident?
Well, it's an ongoing investigation. Like I said, during the audit process, we did detect an abnormally high number by one employee, so we immediately started an internal investigation. We restricted access from that employee, and then put that employee on leave, unpaid leave at that. And then since then, that employee has resigned. It's continuing. The investigation's continuing, and there's also a criminal investigation going on just to determine if, in fact, there are any crimes committed, and that'll eventually be presented to the prosecuting attorney's office.
Okay, now I don't expect you to talk about the specifics of this case. We're speaking by way of St. Charles County Police Chief Frisz. I don't expect you to talk about the details here. But in general, if somebody is using cameras like this, or looking up somebody's medical records or whatever they're doing, let's stick with the cameras. Couldn't that be a type of stalking in some situations?
It could be. It really depends on the nature, how far they went with it, and what they did with that information. So that's really up to the prosecuting attorney's office to determine. We'll simply present the facts and for them to take under consideration.
It's interesting, too, in various jurisdictions, they are either paid for by donors. Where I live, they're paid for by donors. And I guess some things are provided for free, but then, of course, you know what they say: if they're free, you're the product, right?
Right.
That always makes me suspicious. And then you hear stories about, this crime was, broken because of the flock cameras, and these children were returned, they were trafficked, and they were returned because of flock cameras. And I'm not saying that's not ever accurate, but they certainly put out one point of view, don't they, in their publicity?
Well, yeah, the fact is we have made on average 30 to 50 felony arrests because of license plate readers in our county a year. Everything from murder suspects to car break-ins, stolen vehicles. So there is a value to it if it's used correctly.
Yeah, but here's the problem, though, and I'm sure you've considered this is why you're not going to use these anymore. When you're talking about the Fourth Amendment, how does this violate the Fourth Amendment? There are people who will argue, and I've seen them online saying, well, you're out in public anyway. You don't have the right to privacy. You're out in public. What do you say to that, Chief?
Well, you're on a public roadway. Anybody can take a picture of your license plate at any time they want. This is the police department's using it. Your license plate is not in the system. If it doesn't hit, if you're not wanted for a felony, that's the level we set it at. If you're not wanted for a felony, then it will not put an alert out at all. So our police officers, our detectives that have access to the system don't have time to track people. And if they do it for personal reasons and not law enforcement related, then we'll hold them accountable, and that's what we did in this case.
Right. So I've heard people say that if they're used incorrectly, these license plate readers, that they can pretty much check, you went here, this is where you go to church, this is where you go to the grocery store. Oop, you're not supposed to be over here. There are people who are saying it could go that far. What do you think about that, Chief?
Well, I think, that's what misuse is. And if it's being used like that, then that's where I expect law enforcement agencies need to hold their people accountable, and that's what an audit process is for. That's why we decided to get away from Flock, because it wasn't very easy to audit through their system. So we've decided to move away.
It's interesting what you said, though, about how you set the system up. Can everybody set the system up differently? In other words, you said you set it up in St. Charles County to only grab the license plates of people who were felons. Do other jurisdictions do it differently? Do they have the ability to change the way they handle things?
Yeah, you could set it the threshold where it's picking up, traffic warrant, misdemeanor traffic warrants, things like that. We haven't done that in St. Charles County. We're only interested in the criminal element that is preying on our community that we don't want in our community, so that we can respond to that.
Yeah, and I know there was a murder just the other day here in Vegas that they solved it initially by the license plate reader. And like I said, I'm not going to say this doesn't help at times, but people are just concerned about who's got the data and how long are they keeping the data. We don't know. Even if a police department only keeps it for a certain amount of time, what about the Flock company? We don't know, do we? The answers to those questions.
Yeah, and that's what got concerning to us is how Flock is operating. Being a vendor, a third-party vendor, and where the data could possibly be going. So that's why we decided to no longer use our service.
Well, good for you. Great talking to you, Police Chief of St. Charles County, Chief Frisz. It's been fun. My first time talking to you, and I appreciate you doing that. And I'm sure what are the people of St. Charles County saying about this? They must be thrilled that you made this decision.
Well, I think so. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are, and I think our community supports law enforcement to a very high degree, and I think they trust us to use resources like this responsibly, and that's part of why we're putting this out there to show that, hey, we found a problem, we fixed the problem, and we're letting you know about the problem. And so we took action. So it's about transparency and trust.
Absolutely. I think that's great. Police Chief Kurt Frisz, thank you very much for joining the Mark Reardon Show. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Heidi.
Thanks. Great talking to him. I think that's great what he did. I think that's fantastic because a lot of people don't like these things. But a couple of stories real quickly. In the St. Louis area, Brentwood, there was a police officer who was using his license plate reader to stalk his ex-wife. Do you guys hear about this story? Anybody? Sue, anybody hear about this story?
Haven't heard this one.
Brentwood police officer used this automated license plate reader to stalk his ex-wife during a contentious divorce. But investigators said there was no crime committed under Missouri law. Really? But the woman said her ex-husband admitted to using the Flock camera system to track her location. She described the behavior as a control issue. She said, when I got home, he was very angry and mentioned he ran my plates through the Flock camera to find out where I was, who she was with, etc. Okay, that's bad. That's one story. I've just got a couple of them here. I mean, I didn't want to talk to the chief about this because it's not happening in his jurisdiction, but it does go to back up what he's done. Jefferson Parish, Louisiana. A Louisiana sheriff's deputy was fired for tracking his ex-partner's location more than 3,000 times. Did I say ex-partner? Ex-partner. Let it go, buddy. Okay. Ex-partner. 3,000 times over the course of several years using Flock cameras. 3,000 times. And the car belonged to his ex-fiancée. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like people accessing your private medical records. If they work in an office, you're a celebrity or something, and you come into the hospital and people are accessing. I mean, there are things that a lot of people have access to when they work in various jurisdictions or agencies, and you're supposed to handle them ethically and responsibly. And doing something like this to me, obviously, is it's not cool. That's all I'm saying. I'm glad he did that. I'm glad the chief decided not to do it because it makes you wonder, though, when you think about it, if something's free, and a lot of these places in the country, they're being provided these cameras. And what bothers me about it, where I live, these cameras showed up with nobody having a vote on it because they were donated by big donors. And nobody had a vote on these hundreds of cameras that have appeared all over the place. And how much data are they collecting? How long do they keep this data? I don't know. And I have heard people say who are really against these cameras that they can basically monitor. Oh, you went here, this is where you go to church, this is where you go to school, this is where you go to work, this is where you go to the grocery store, blah, 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 blah. Wait, whoop. You went somewhere different. You were at a place you shouldn't have been. What are you up to? I don't got time to monitor people that closely. I really don't. But that's a possibility, and a lot of people are very concerned about it, to say the least, and I think it's great that they're eliminating it in some places. All right, much more to come on the Mark Reardon Show. Don't forget, you can follow us on all the socials, 97.1 FM Talk. And, of course, you can follow me, Heidi Hirsch Show, on all the socials, X and all that kind of stuff. When we come back, we're going to talk about National Radio Day, just briefly, because it is National Radio Day. I just got a nice tweet from Mike Gallagher. You know Mike Gallagher, syndicated host? I put something up about the first day that I was on radio, a picture, and he goes, "Congrats, Heidi, on a stellar career." That was sweet of him. He's a good guy. So it's National Radio Day. We'll talk about that and much more coming up on the Mark Reardon Show. I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Watch out for a stall eastbound 70 at St. Louis Avenue. They've got the right lane and the right shoulder blocked. And, of course, a little bit of volume behind that. Now, westbound 70 out of downtown is fine, but it is slow. 94 out past Zumbel, and a little bit of moderate volume at K and at Wentzville. 6440, it's Kings Highway out through McCausland. That's a slow go. Eastbound slowing, ramping on from 170 to eastbound 64 through about Big Bend before it opens up. And then out west, westbound 64, slow Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through the 70 split. And there's moderate volume along southbound 270, mainly from Page through just south of 44. 55 a little slow at Butler Hill, and again south of Highway M. But the worst of it is on the Illinois side, 64 westbound, just a parking lot as you head toward 157, all due to road work and the closure of westbound 64 between 255 and 18th Street. And eastbound traffic is jammed as you approach 159. This report is brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they've been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. Windows, siding, kitchens, baths, outdoor spaces, and they deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your project today. Sue Thomas with traffic, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Never miss a beat. Take 97.1 FM Talk with you. The voices you trust, Mark Cox, Annie Fry, Mark Reardon, Scott Jennings, and more are just a tap away with the Odyssey app. Stream 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Heidi Harrison for Mark Reardon. He returns on Monday. He's having a little fun at the golf course, and he's entitled to a few days off, so I'm happy to give it to him. It's National Radio Day. All of us in radio were posting all kinds of crazy pictures of ourselves when we started the business and that kind of stuff. Radio, madam.
Hold on. Oh, one.
Get out your stone tablet. Start.
9, 5,
Carry the one.
30-something years. Yep, abacus. That's how I'm doing it.
Yeah, I get it. I'm going to be starting 29 in September. Fred, what about you, my friend?
44 years. I started in 82.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That is great. Now, what were you doing when you first started in radio?
I've been at KMOX radio my whole career. So I graduated in 82 and started at KMOX as a reporter. And I've been doing the same thing over there. And then I share my time here on 97.1.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
44 years. That's a heck of a career.
It's a long time.
You know, he's a Hall
Wow.
of Famer. Did you know that? You know that, Heidi?
I did not know that. Radio Hall of Fame?
Hall of Famer.
It's for being old. That's why they put you in the Hall of Fame.
Is that Missouri you're talking about?
St. Louis Media Hall of Fame.
Okay. Because I know in Nevada you got to be in 20 years before you can get in the Hall of Fame.
Well, then, if that's the case, if he lived in Nevada, then, he would be, a two-time Hall of Famer.
He'd be a two-time Hall of Famer. God bless him. That's fantastic. No, you know what? It's great to find something you love and stick with it that long because, radio is one of those things where it's different every day. People are like, you do the same job forever. No, because it's not the same job. Today, tomorrow, every day it's different. That's what makes it so cool.
I don't think there's ever been a day that I've not looked forward to coming to work because every day, like you said, is something new. And it's just the immediacy of radio that you can, hear something and moments later you have it on the air and you're sharing it with listeners.
And that's saying something because he works with Mark Reardon. So
well, that is saying something.
True.
That does seem like a bit of a grind. No, that's not true. I was just telling you, Ethan, today, Mark Reardon has the friendliest voice in radio, doesn't he?
He does. He does good commercials, yeah.
Yeah, friendly, happy guy. But that's true. I mean, it's the immediacy. I mean, there's some jobs, I've done jobs over the course of my life where, after you've learned the job, that's kind of the end of the intellectual stimulation. Okay, I know what I'm doing now. I can't do it again tomorrow, right? But radio is so much different. So much different. How many stations have you worked for, Sue? A lot or a few?
Oh, jeez. Hold on. Doing adding it up again.
Carry the one again.
Yes, I would say several. Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
several.
Yes.
All right.
I was a news director in Tifton, Georgia at my first job.
Okay.
And then I moved back, but, as part of traffic, you're all over the place.
Oh, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Right. And so then I would stop and be part of a different show, and that would be one place. And then they'd say, ooh, we'll take it back. Fred.
And young Ethan has been in the radio business how long, my friend?
Oh boy. Not quite nearly as long as my coworkers here. I have let's see. I guess I graduated in 23, but I technically started when I was still in school at KMOX as a part-timer. So that would have been 2022. So this is my fourth year in radio.
Yeah. Okay.
Fourth year in radio. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now you're doing the radio. You do the play-by-play, which I was telling you during the break. I know you guys have heard, Sue and Fred, you've heard him do the play-by-play. He's unbelievable.
He's really, really good. We're not gonna have him here long. He'll get a bigger job soon.
I'm telling you, I don't care who you think you are, Herb Street. Watch out for Ethan. He's coming for your job, buddy.
Oh boy. Next subject.
Well, I don't know where a guy named Kurt Hertstrike. Where did he start? Do you have any idea what his history is? Because I don't know. He's an incredible.
He's an analyst.
Yeah.
So for Kirk Herbstreit, if you live under a rock, is he's probably the biggest personality in college football. Is one of the hosts of College Game Day every Saturday morning. But Kirk Herbstreit, went the athlete path. He was a quarterback at Ohio State,
Didn't know that.
and that's how he got into the field. You see a lot of the analysts tend to be former athletes, and then the play-by-play side is usually the ones that started in broadcasting and kind of worked their way up. But yeah, he was at Ohio State, and he has been doing it for like I said. Now he is he's kind of the king of college football in the sense of that he's probably one of the most recognized faces and voices just because he's been around for such a long time.
Yeah, he's great. I hadn't thought about what you just said about the guys who are calling the games, like Al Michaels, okay,
Right.
versus the color guy, okay, like I'm thinking, no, I can't think of his name, who he usually works with, but I'm thinking about Al Michaels.
Kirk Herbstreit works with him now. They do the games together on Thursday Night Football.
So it's not Collinsworth anymore.
Collinsworth is on Sunday Night Football now with Mike Tirico.
Okay, Mike Tirico, one of the best in the business
Love him.
too. I just love him. So yeah, I mean, I have such an admiration for people doing that because listen, Al Michaels can call anything, including an earthquake. Remember that story?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, remember that one? I mean, who can go from calling was the All-Star game, correct? That's when the earthquake interrupted All-Star game?
I think it was the World Series, wasn't it? It was
could have been. But it was being played in the Bay Area, as you guys may know.
It was the World Series.
Okay, when he's getting ready to call that game, and then the earthquake hits. And I remember because I was getting a car stereo put in my car, and I'm looking up the TV screen and going, whoa. And I watched the one bridge. It had, it was a kind of a flat bridge, and it had collapsed. And I was looking at it and going, I've been on that bridge. There are 2 layers to that. Oh my gosh, there are people underneath it. I couldn't believe it. And, Al Michaels just, boom, I'll do earthquake coverage now. I could do anything. Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's one of the best. He's been around for a very long time. That is for sure.
Yeah, and no scandal, no problems. That's the thing. Most of these guys, Kirk's the same way. No scandal, no problems, just doing the job. And it's great. I'm excited for you. I think you're going to do great things and stay with radio. Don't leave us. But you can do some other stuff too. We'll let you.
Sounds good.
So
where the
happy
opportunities are.
Absolutely. Happy National Radio Day, everybody. We appreciate you tuning in and joining us because this is what we love to do. We hope you love to hear us. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, I'll tell you what, we've got a jam on eastbound 70 as you head towards Salisbury, and I believe that's going to be an accident to blame. It's just coming down. Now, westbound looks fine until you get out to 94. It's a little slow there, and at K and at Wentzville. 6440 is slow in Kings Highway out through McCausland, and then it's slow at Boone's Crossing. Then you get a break, and slow again, Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through the 64 split. It's mainly moderate volume along southbound 270, but it's Page down through just a little bit south of 44. And we've got an accident reported southbound on Clarkson, and it's almost at Clayton Road, just a little north of there. Whoo, there's a big jam behind it. On the Illinois side, 64 eastbound jams at 157, and westbound lines up from 157 to 159. This report brought to you by Spas and More. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Cam Jansen here. Don't miss the hot tub and swim spa blowout sale this weekend at the St. Charles Convention Center in the South Hall. Over 30 American-made units on display, immediate delivery, and financing available. For more info, call 1-800-SPA-SALE.
Mark Cox here. Celebrate the month of August with Zero Res. They're offering you 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $119. That's $106 in savings. You can book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
If you like that comfortable setting to hang out where people know your name, check out Lit Cigar Lounge. My friends at Lit Cigar Lounge are fantastic. Brian and Dana and Andrew and Charlie and Nick and all of them down there are going to get to know you by name because it is a family-run business in the Chesterfield Valley and the district. They've got an extensive selection of bourbons and whiskeys and craft cocktails, and some of the best hand-rolled cigars from around the world. Check them out at the district or go online to litstl.com. Do you have any evergreens in your yard? It might be time for a health checkup. Mark Cox here for Hanson's Tree Service. My friend Chad Hanson tells me he's been seeing a lot of evergreens dying due to environmental issues from the last couple of years. A winter drought 2 years ago, combined by a very wet spring, is wreaking havoc on a lot of these evergreens. Let Hanson's Tree Service help. Call them today at 636-379-1830 or online at hansonstree.com.
If you're a business or brand that's still paying for ads people skip or ignore, that's cute. Try a new method of advertising your customers can't mute. Join our mobile movement so you don't get left in our dust because stationary billboards are a bust. Big, bold, loud, and in-your-face advertising that doesn't wait for traffic. We drive through it, bringing your business or brand right to your customers' eyes. You can't delete it. You can't trash it or swipe right. Hell, you can't even ignore it. The answer? The moving billboards, baby. We circulate around any high-traffic venue, capturing people's attention when they're making decisions. Inside stadiums, big brands compete for attention, but outside the stadium, we own the street media. Because in a world that's went mobile, your advertising should too. Try moving billboards. They really work. PinkTiger.ai.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Mark Cox here. Join me for breakfast Friday, September 11th from 5 to 9 a.m. at Chickenelli's in Eureka. We're raising funds for Focus Marines Foundation. Proceeds go straight to supporting our veterans. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
KFTK FM Florissant,
an Odyssey station.
Foiling a terror plot in New York. I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News. The FBI arrests a New York woman on charges of planning to bomb the state capitol in Albany in an ISIS-inspired attack.
U.S. Attorney John Sarcone said Bowie is charged with providing material support to ISIS.
This defendant was radicalized online and spread messages of hate and violence.
FBI special agent in charge in Albany, Craig Tremoroli, quoted Bowie's intent to take down the building
and kill the senators while they are meeting.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul posted her gratitude on X for the arrest and said at this time there is no other immediate threat in Albany. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Fox News has learned that federal agents seized electronic devices from former California Congressman Eric Swalwell at a San Francisco airport and searched his Washington, D.C. home.
Sources tell Fox this is part of the ongoing federal probe, possibly in relation to sexual misconduct allegations. Swalwell was cooperative during the airport encounter on Saturday and was not detained or arrested. The FBI is not commenting on this matter. Swalwell faces multiple allegations of sexual assault from several women.
Fox's Matt Fenn reporting Swalwell denies the allegations. Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, is trying to calm the public and the markets as the national debt hits a record $40 trillion.
We're going to have to grow our way out of this.
And that tariff income will help.
With the Section 301 tariffs, I am confident that we will be back to the same level, if not higher, of tariff income for last year.
That didn't stop the sell-off on Wall Street, though. The Dow lost 704 points, or more than 1%. The Nasdaq slid 264 points. America's listening to Fox News.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil, one simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to metamucil.com for more details.
Ice Cube's Big 3 season has come down to this. The Big 3 Championship is coming to Charlotte. Who will be crowned the Big 3 Season 9 champion? Plus the Big 3 All-Star Game, the biggest names in the game, all on one court, one more time. 2 games of the most physical, competitive, and non-stop 3-on-3 action. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and catch replays Monday on BET.
Yay, yay! Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
No complaints at all with our weather pattern, all thanks to the northwest flow. Delightful this evening, clear and nice overnight, 67. Friday, plenty of sunshine. What a beautiful morning. 88 for the high in the afternoon. Friday night, partly to mostly clear, 69, maybe a spot thunderstorm. Saturday, early morning storm. Otherwise, partly to mostly sunny, 86. And Sunday, sunny and 83. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Good afternoon. I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon. Always fun hanging out with some of my favorite people in the radio business. Looking here at some breaking news this afternoon. The FBI has now arrested a woman who allegedly plotted an ISIS-linked attack on the New York State, on the state Capitol building. Jessica Bowie's her name. She apparently converted to Islam a couple of years ago and started to go by the name of Aisha Saif. Apparently, she was using a different name on a social media platform, but making threats and things like that. She's charged with attempting to provide material support to ISIS. A couple of these women have left America and gone and married some terrorist and gone over to another country, a third world country, and then they've tried to come back when they realize that the guys, And then most of the time they're not allowed to go back to their country. Sometimes it's ours, sometimes it's somewhere else. But I don't understand why these women. I get that a lot of girls like the bad boys, but this goes above and beyond. Plus, they got her on camera, all right, actually buying bomb parts. Or things that you can. I used to have a friend who was. Let me back up a little bit. I have a friend who was a arson investigator, and I know it's arson. It's not fire investigator. I mean, it's actually fire investigator. You don't say arson because you don't know if it's arson. And a bomb squad guy. Okay. And he used to tell me I could make a bomb with what's under your kitchen sink. Now I can't do it because I don't know how to do it, but that's what he used to tell me. So it's not like you have to get things that are impossible to buy to be able to create a lot of havoc. But apparently her plans extended beyond an attack on the state capitol in New York, where she wanted to blow things up. She wanted to disguise it as a food delivery and then blow things up, which would affect the state senators in New York. Special agent in charge of the FBI's Albany field office, Craig Tremaroli, said she didn't just want to kill lawmakers. She wanted a complete disruption of our government. Now, this is important because what people forget about terrorism is terrorists' plots are not to kill 1 million people. Terrorism succeeds when you kill 100 and you terrorize 100,000. You terrorize 1 million. That's how they succeed. And a lot of those bombs that they put in backpacks and things like that, last time I looked it up, it was a little over $100 worth of stuff. People forget about how easy it is to do some of these things. But apparently she had planned to leave the country after bombing the Capitol and later returned to do more, apparently, including an attack in Times Square on New Year's Eve. She also spoke of attacking the White House and the president. But here's the funny thing. So they've got her on camera at the store buying things completely covered head to toe. Okay, nothing like standing out wherever you're buying these items, right? Not even smart enough to try to blend in. You show up full garb, totally covered head to toe. It still stands out in America that you'd be doing that, right? Beginning in mid-July, she told the source she wanted help making explosives and identify the Capitol as her target. Investigators said she walked around the building on roughly 5 separate occasions, taking photographs and studying the surrounding area and security. And once again, I don't know if she did that in full, whatever you want to call the garb, hijab or whatever else she was. I know there are different names for them. I don't know, but that's a way to stand out too, isn't it? In one exchange, she told the FBI source she'd make a point of having picnics near the Capitol and drinking coffee nearby so she could observe the building. She told the source she wanted to destroy as much of the Capitol, and once again, this is the Capitol in Albany, and kill senators while they were meeting. As I mentioned, she also wanted to put the stuff in a bag that would make her look like a food delivery worker. So she goes to Home Depot in Rensselaer, up there in New York State, using $200 provided by one of the confidential sources, and bought materials she would believe would build a bomb. Okay. A large container of nails, this and that. Okay. Once again, they've got her on camera. I saw the pictures, and here she's in full garb. I mean, not that I'm going to look at any woman wearing those clothes and assume she's a terrorist, but she's going to stand out. Let's just put it that way. Wow. The next day, she delivered DoorDash bags that she said could be used to conceal the device. August 19th, she met again with confidential sources and paid $150 for what she believed was a handgun, magazine, and ammunition. Okay. I mean, enemies among us. There are always people who are out to do us harm. It's a shame. It's sad, and thank God for the FBI taking a look at that kind of situation, because there are people who, I don't get it. I mean, you have an amazing amount of freedom in this country. You'd think you'd appreciate it, but this is a cult of death. I've been reading a book this week because I'm going to interview this guy on my podcast, Heidi Hare Show. If you get it's on Odyssey app, Heidi Hare Show. And he wrote a book called United in Hate. And it's one of those, and I don't normally read books, political books that I'm going to agree with. You know, if it's going to be something like, oh, the left sucks and the right's right. Oh, no, thanks. But this is very interesting. I did not understand a lot of the history on how these various hate groups come together. Now, I believe as a Christian that it's a satanic influence on a lot of these folks, and they're cults of death. They really are at the end of the day. But how they're all connected politically, religiously. It's not just a certain religious group. It's not certain, liberals. It's very interesting, their thinking and their goals. And they don't care about our freedom. They don't appreciate our freedom. When people say, well, why don't they come here to America and appreciate the wonderful freedom we have? Because they don't want us to have it. They don't want anybody to have it, because all they want is death and destruction. That's what it comes down to. And it's been kind of fascinating. I'm looking forward to talking to this guy who wrote the book here in a couple of weeks. But wow, we don't understand why somebody wouldn't look at our wonderful country and be happy to be here. Remember when all the soccer players were here from all over the world, and how wonderful a lot of them found America to be, and they were shocked that it was something completely different than they had been told, and wow, this is so cool, and you have all these groceries, and you have all these beautiful places, and it's not crowded, and blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people from third world countries were seeing America for the first time, the real America, not the America as portrayed by the media. They were all running around with guns trying to kill each other, or we all hate each other. I mean, if you watch certain, look at certain news sites, you wouldn't want to come to America. You would assume everyone hated each other and was trying to kill each other. Not that at all. But a lot of these people saw America for the very first time and couldn't believe how great we were. But unfortunately, there are people who come here and they just look at our weakness and they want to hurt us. And I remember my dad was sick with cancer. He was diagnosed in 2001. And this is right after the anthrax attacks that happened on the East Coast. And we went to an oncologist, and the oncologist was from Iran. And I asked him, I said, what do you think about these anthrax attacks? And he looked right at me. I'll never forget it. He looked at me and he said, you Americans are weak. You don't know how they think. I do. You need to round up everybody back there and question them, blah, 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 blah. And he had moved to America in 1980. And he said, when I moved here, the Olympics were happening, and they, basically interrogated him and this and that and the other. That guy's not a threat to me. I'm not talking about everybody who's from a certain place. But his point was, we don't understand it. We think, wouldn't it be great if they could just see how we can live? Wouldn't it be just great? And then people move to America and drown their daughters in the pool because they're dating the wrong guy. We don't do that in America. That's not what we do. You may get mad at who your daughter dates. Sure, my family did. But you don't get to drown them in the pool because they're dating the wrong person. Don't bring that stuff here. And that's not what everybody thinks from other countries, but there are people who come here and they don't care. They see our freedom as weakness. That's what we don't understand. And these idiot girls who convert to Islam and then start doing the bidding of these folks, these guys. I mean, there are a couple of them who've been murdered by boyfriends, I think in Ireland. I have to look this up, but I think 2 of them are killed in Ireland by these boyfriends that they, they're Palestinian or something, Middle Eastern, something. I have to look it up. Killed by these boyfriends. Oh, he's so cute, and we're going to have this great life. But they don't understand the background. How does he really think? And they have these, I don't know, idealized versions of what they think these guys are. Yeah, sure, a lot of them are very good looking. I'm not questioning that. But you have to look at how somebody's raised, what their beliefs are. And I don't get it. And then they get over there, the ones who don't get killed, get over there in the Middle East and go, uh-oh, this sucks. That's not what I thought it was going to be. Well, then they want to come back. No. So, you get these dumb, impressionable girls. Here she is, 35 years old, trying to come up with a way to blow up a building and kill a bunch of state senators and ultimately have bigger plans in mind. I mean, this is an American girl raised in America. These people are influenced online. Sometimes they're lonely. We don't really know, but we've got to keep an eye on these people. And thank God for the FBI on this one that stopped this girl from doing who knows what kind of damage she could have done. We don't know. But we know she planned to do some damage to the country she grew up in. I mean, I don't like a lot of lawmakers. I'm not going to lie to you, but I would never want to hurt them. That's not the answer. It's not the way. You vote them out if you can. And if not, you just let God have it. What else can you do sometimes? A lot of them are corrupt. A lot of them are, arrogant jerks, but you don't kill people. It's not the way you achieve things. But that's not the way she thinks anymore. This is an American, raised in America. That's not how she thinks. She's been converted to an entirely different way of thinking. And that's a problem. And we all have to watch out for that. That's for sure. I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, on the roads this afternoon, if you are a westbound 70 driver, we look pretty good out of downtown. It's a little bit slow at Zumbel and at Kay and at Wentzville. But I'll tell you what, there is a jam on the Illinois side, and it's on 270. Eastbound 270 is a parking lot from Route 3 to a place just between the chain of rocks and canal bridges. And then you get a break, and then it jams again across the chain of rocks bridge. So kind of a mess between Route 3 and Riverview at this hour. Now 6440 westbound, moderate volume, but it starts at Kings Highway, goes out through McCausland, and a little bit slow at Boone's Crossing, then it lines up at Prospect. The innerbound southbound is slow approaching 6440, and southbound 270, moderate volume in pockets. It's mainly from Page down through Doherty Ferry. On the Illinois side, 64 eastbound is jammed approaching 159, and westbound jams approaching 157. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-887-4333. 314-887-4333. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-887-4333.
Sometimes historic events suck. But what shouldn't suck is learning about history. I do that through storytelling. History That Doesn't Suck is a chart-topping history-telling podcast, chronicling the epic story of America, decade by decade, from the 18th century to the 20th. Original music and immersive sound design accompany us on our storytelling journey. Listen to and follow History That Doesn't Suck, an Odyssey podcast, available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to The Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Heidi Harrison for Mark Reardon. Here's Sue's News.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment.
It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Well, you guys, it's National Bacon Lovers Day.
Oh, I'm
Fred,
there.
yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm so there.
So there.
We have in town, Heidi, the Crown Candy Kitchen, which is probably one of the oldest, counters where you can get malts and that sort of thing. But it's also home to the world's biggest, I would say, BLT. And they fry the bacon every morning, and the entire neighborhood smells like it. But you can go there. Fred, what is your order at Crown Candy Kitchen?
The bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich. It's so good. It's so. I've actually got a red T-shirt that I own that I got there talking about it. It's amazing.
What does it say? Fred, have eaten.
It's something about a heart attack in progress or something like that.
Ethan, have you been there?
No, I haven't. The most knowledge I have on it is I edited that history of the Loop with Sue. So, I know just about as much as one would know about it, but I have not experienced this glorious BLT myself.
All right, we've got to take you there. They also have a really good egg salad, but I like that and a banana milkshake. Oh, so good. Anyway.
Banana milkshake.
Yeah. Oh, and here's the thing. Heidi, you understand this as well. There's nothing worse than either the fake flavor of banana or watermelon. Those are the two worst fake flavors.
I don't think I've ever thought about it.
Oh, I guarantee you this is the truth. So they have a real banana milkshake, and it just elevates everything. You could get banana chocolate if you wanted. Oh, it's so good. Or you can have it be a malt.
Whatever happened to ice cream? Just ice cream, and give me the chocolate syrup on the ice cream.
Yeah, wasn't yesterday? Wasn't yesterday soft serve ice cream day?
Yeah. Oh, it was a glorious day. It was. And we've talked about it. It's also National Radio Day. Oh, now, my brother is coming in town tomorrow. I'm going to pick him up at the airport. Now, his wife, I love her. She's awesome. I have a great sister-in-law. But she's also a fan of the turkey bacon. Now, turkey bacon is fine. But I am getting the boy some pork bacon for the weekend.
Good on you.
And he will be happy.
Fred stole the words.
And National Chocolate Pecan Pie Day.
When is Broccoli Day? When is Broccoli Day, Sue?
Broccoli does not get a day, Heidi.
No,
what is going on
If you boil it, it smells like feet. Now, that's just a fact. I don't love a pecan pie. Fred, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not big into pecan pie.
But a chocolate version is not bad. Ethan?
No, not my thing. I mean, I'm already, super picky with. There's only a few pies that I'm like, I'll do it. Like, what was the pie that you made for us a couple weeks ago?
Blueberry.
That was divine. Now, apple pie, great, but outside of that, I mean, I'd rather go with a different dessert if I'm gonna eat a treat.
Like banana cream, you wouldn't eat that?
No, coconut cream. Coconut cream.
Oh, coconut cream is excellent.
See, I just don't have enough experience with pies, I guess. I feel like
You've been eating bad crust and store-bought.
that might be the case, but I feel like pies are probably just not made as much as they used to be.
Well, that's probably true.
I've got to, go out here and just tell everyone coconut cream pie, Gilligan's Island specialty.
Is that what it was?
Oh, yeah. Because they were on an island.
Them.
That's all. The only ingredients they had.
Well,
that's
sure,
hilarious.
But somehow they made a crust.
It was only a 3-hour cruise.
Yes, that's what I've heard. Heidi, Fred is an expert on all things Gilligan's Island. He has books about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what screwed me up was when they were talking about the Explorer, right? Right? The Explorer?
The minnow?
No, when they were talking Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe. It wasn't Robinson Caruso. It was Robinson Crusoe. Caruso was a singer. Screwed me
right.
up as a
Enrico Caruso. Yeah.
Yeah, totally screwed me up.
Fred and Mark maintain that the show holds up. I am skeptical.
Yeah.
On this day into history, 52 years ago. Now, see, I don't think I realized it was that long ago because we're talking about 1974. And that's when Nolan Ryan, who of the California Angels, became the first major league pitcher to have a fastball clocked at over 100 miles per hour.
Wow.
1974. Steroid free, of course.
Yes. Wow, that's impressive.
That's pretty impressive.
It was a different world back then.
It really was. And of
course, can we go back to Gilligan's Island for 1 second? Fred, are you a Ginger or Marianne guy? I want to know.
Definitely Marianne.
Yeah.
Okay, just check. Okay, sorry, Sue. Go ahead.
Listen, it's a well-established fact. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's Fred knows everything about it.
So Mark is a Marianne person too.
Yes, he is. Mm-hmm. Wait, nobody's
Speaking
Ginger?
I don't think Ethan knows what we're talking about.
I'm just politely sitting
Ethan
here.
Ethan hasn't even seen Blazing Saddles, so you guys just skip over him for this.
On this day in history, 49 years ago, in 1977, the United States launched Voyager 2, and it was the unmanned spacecraft carrying a 12-inch gold-plated phonograph. Gold-plated phonograph. And it was a record that scientists hoped aliens would find and play, and they would learn about Earth. Now, of course, this seems so rational. The recording has 55 greetings, 55 different languages. They had nature sounds. They had samples of music, including Mozart, Beethoven, and, of course, this from St. Louis. Oh, I should have mentioned that to you.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, where's your rock and roll, man? Who wouldn't like this?
Well, the aliens could have rocked out to Chuck Berry, Johnny B. Good. I don't think the aliens.
How can you not smile when you hear this song? How can you?
Fantastic. You guys, I didn't realize this. There is a documentary coming out next month about how comedian and actor Dane Cook's half-brother and business manager stole $12 million from him. And it's called Funny Money, and it's kind of a dramatic trailer, but here's the sound from it.
Dane, it's your brother. The FBI is involved with something? Dane, what happened? What have you done?
A person that spent so much time pretending to be something he wasn't. From the moment he left that bank, my brother disappeared.
There were bricks of hundreds and all the spaghetti sauce.
And the pasta sauce, of course. Where else would you put the money?
Where is he? What has he done? How does this end?
Isn't that crazy? I didn't know this was that this story existed. And his half-brother was hiding his money in, that's right, pasta sauce and red sauce. And apparently he was convicted and then has disappeared. I think he may have served jail time and then just has vanished off the face of the earth.
Okay,
so
who's
it's the
Dane
story
Cook?
of how he got that. Did you know this story, Heidi?
I did not. I don't even know who this guy is.
Yeah.
To be
Oh,
honest
Dane
with you.
Cook?
Who
No,
you're
yeah,
talking-
I don't know either.
Oh, you guys
don't know
Google
who
him.
he
You'll
is.
look at him and go, oh, it's that guy.
Oh, I know this
Yeah,
guy. Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
So you trust your brother and you think everything's fine, and it turns out he's stolen $12 million from you.
Well, Billy Joel's brother-in-law took like $90 million from him year back in the day. I mean, that's crazy.
That is a great documentary, by the way, if you haven't seen it, the one on Billy
I
Joel.
haven't. I'll have to look for it. I love Billy Joel. But, I mean, can you even imagine that? I mean, because you're out there busting your butt, out there performing, and somebody's just stealing all your money behind the scenes.
I believe that was his wife at the time's brother.
Yeah,
So it was
right.
his, brother-in-law-ish. I'm not sure they were married yet. Okay.
I heard a comedian one time talking about that, saying he said he did just the way you are, and then he dumped her for Christy Brinkley. I'm not sure it went that way, but it was a funny comedian line.
It didn't, so go watch. Netflix is being sued over K-pop demon hunters by a Christian metal band called Demon Hunter. They say they've been damaged in, quote, an amount not yet ascertainable. Netflix says the band's claims are without merit, and they will vigorously defend themselves. I don't think you can hold on to demon hunters as two words put together and try to protect that. But we'll
Who's
see
into
how
K-pop?
it goes.
Ethan, are you into K-pop?
No. And finally, in Sue's News, today's random fact, the name for a group of ferrets is a business. And that's it for Sue's News.
There you go. I'm Heidi Harris.
I'm Dan Loney with Your Money Now. Cryptocurrency prices are on the rise once again as the White House makes a push for Congress to pass the Clarity Act. The bill would frame further regulation for the industry, but also keep U.S.-based companies ahead of those in China. Bitcoin is trading at its highest level since June at near 73,000, up better than 6% today and 12% in the last 2 days. The U.S. Open tennis tournament has upped the payout for its championship coming up in New York City. The total player compensation will now be $108 million, which is a 20% increase from last year. The men's and women's singles winners will receive $5.5 million each. Concerns over the bond market sent Wall Street lower. The Dow Industrial Average off 703 points at 52,759. The Nasdaq lost 264 points today, and the S&P 500 fell by 66. And that's Your Money Now.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text SPARK to 215-215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text SPARK to 215-215. That's SPARK to 215-215. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
Let's just face it, right? Your home should work for you, not against you. Hi, it's Kim, and if you've been dreaming of a new kitchen, bathroom, or a finished basement, now's the time to call Lakeside Renovation and Design. They're St. Louis's trusted experts in turning houses into dream homes. Just imagine this, a spa-like bathroom, maybe a chef-inspired kitchen, Or how about a cozy basement perfect for some movie nights? Their team handles everything from design to installation so you can just sit back and enjoy the process. Visit lakesidearty.com today to start your dream renovation.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
The time is 4:33. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Hey, where you going? The party just started. We're celebrating America 250 all year long on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
It won't surprise anybody. By the way, I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon. It won't surprise anybody that people pretty much nowadays consider driving over the speed limit normal. AAA actually did a study on this. Joining us is Nick Chabarria. He is the spokesperson for the AAA of Missouri. How are you, sir? Thank you for joining the Mark Reardon Show.
Doing great. Great to be on.
Glad to have you. So it's so funny because the other day I was driving in Utah with my husband in the mountains, and I got pulled over for 6 miles over the speed limit. I mean, I was trying really hard going up and down the hills, but 6 miles over, and I thought, are you kidding me? Because where I live, 10 miles is routine. And your study found that people figure 10 miles per hour over the speed limit, it's not a big deal, right?
Yeah, and this study, I think you said it off the top, it kind of really puts the data to what I think a lot of folks are seeing normally out on the roads. And that's that, most people agree that no one actually drives the speed limit. And that's problematic for a number of reasons from a traffic safety perspective. But the study really takes a good look at why people believe it's acceptable to speed, and then also, what might slow them down.
So what are the main reasons people give? I should say not reasons, excuses. They'll call them reasons. I'll say excuses for driving over the speed limit because sometimes there's nobody around. It's one thing. I'm not defending it. Other times they're weaving in and out of traffic. What excuses do they make?
Yeah, well, the majority of drivers surveyed, and this was a survey of over 11,000 drivers, we found that getting around slower drivers was the number one reason that people would speed. But then also reaching their destination faster, so saving time. Or the third, and maybe most concerning, is avoiding holding up traffic. And that concern about avoiding holding up traffic really goes back to people wanting to keep up with traffic, follow the traffic patterns, which, of course, we can understand if people are zooming by you on I-70, that can be a little unnerving. If you're driving the speed limit and, people are going 80, 85 next to you. But I think it's sort of that herd mentality that gets folks into trouble, and especially when you're talking about safety on a roadway, for what the speed the roadway was designed for, and then also the driving conditions, whether it's weather or construction or whatever it might be. So it really is an eye-opening survey into kind of what's going on with people's thinking when they're out on the roads and how it relates to speeding.
We're speaking with Nick Chabarria. He's a spokesman for AAA of Missouri. I'm Heidi Harris in from Mark Reardon. Yeah, it's interesting to me that because you hear the stories about if people are going too slow, way too slow for traffic, that other people try to go around them because they get impatient, and that can cause even more accidents. But like my husband and I have a truck camper, and with a truck camper, we can't go more than 62 miles an hour safely and in control. I don't care if we're in Utah where it's 80 miles an hour. Doesn't matter where it is. We can't do it. And people get mad and they go around. And what are you going to do, though? I mean, that's just reality for some people.
Yeah, and it really kind of goes back to, the basics of driving that, we'd hope most drivers would learn before getting their license. That's, of course, sharing the road and having respect for other drivers. Driving is one of the few things that we do every single day, most people do every single day, where you're putting your trust, a lot of trust in people around you if for your safety, as well as, making sure you're staying safe and keeping your passengers safe. So, when it comes to speeding, we know it's been a real problem. Just for example, on Missouri and Illinois roadways, speeding accounts for anywhere from 33 to 40% of all fatal crashes, or it's involved a factor in all fatal crashes. So it's a huge issue. We saw it really ramp up over the pandemic when roads were emptier and there were the more risky drivers out on the roadways. But, by and large, we know that speeding is something that needs to be addressed. And, there are a number of ways to do that. But really it comes down to personal responsibility when you're behind the wheel is a good first step.
No question. And, speeding obviously is twofold. You can have the one car accident, or people go too fast because they just don't have control of their vehicle. But also, if you're going too fast for the road, because, the people who design roads know what the speed limit should be for that particular road. If you're going way above and beyond that around a corner, whatever else, you're not in a position, if you're speeding, to be able to adjust to somebody else quickly enough to avoid an accident.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Every road is designed for a certain speed, whether it's what the guardrails are rated for on that particular stretch of road, if there's curves, if there's hills, blind spots, if there's entry-exit points for side roads. So, there really is a science behind it. And it's not just a matter of setting a number and then asking drivers to stick to it. And, we're actually seeing that right now play out in real time in Missouri with recent legislation that raised the speed limit on rural interstates. We know that the Department of Transportation right now is looking at how that might happen on some of those stretches of rural highways to see how those roads were designed and what they can actually withstand and what's actually safe to do. So, there's more to it than I think maybe some drivers realize, but, by and large, speed limits are set for a reason. And those should really be, think of it as sort of a benchmark, the maximum of what you should go, and, adjust lower based on things like road conditions, visibility, and other traffic around you.
I was speaking with Nick Chabarria. He's a spokesperson for AAA in Missouri. I was surprised something you said. I hadn't even thought about this, that when they're setting speed limits, besides all the other reasons that they're doing it, road conditions, curves, this and that and the other, I hadn't thought about the barriers that protect you from going over the mountain as being designed for a certain speed limit. That I never thought about it that way.
Yeah. Speed is one factor, and whether it's the solid guardrails, and I'm not an engineer, but whether it's the solid guardrails or the wire barriers that you see in a lot of highways, those all have impact ratings, and we know that speed along with vehicle weight and other factors can impact the force that would be caused if a vehicle slams into those. So those are designed to protect the driver of that vehicle that may be running off the road, but then also in the instance of a crash, protect drivers maybe on the other side of the highway as well, so there's not more damage done. So, those are all kinds of factors that are taken into account when setting the speed limit. So, again, it's so important for drivers to understand that and realize the risk associated with high speeds, especially on highways and interstates.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't adjust for the weather. Where I live, it almost never rains. Okay, so when it does, it becomes a bumper car derby real fast because people don't have any idea what to do, because the first 20 minutes when all of the grease is coming up from the road, and they just don't adapt. Some people don't adapt when it's snowing, and that's a huge factor too.
Yeah, snow is a perfect example, especially in the St. Louis area. That first snowfall of the year, it seems like it's everybody's first time experiencing snow out on the roadways. So, that's a perfect example, though. And you see the pileups and the backups caused by even just the light snow, and every situation is different. But many times that could be avoided if cars simply slow down it's going to take you a little bit longer to get to your destination. But if it means avoiding a crash or, getting stuck behind a backup, that's a much better option than getting stuck on the interstate for several hours while they're clearing your vehicle off.
Yeah, don't we always see that every year? We see some backup in Iowa or something happens, and one person rear ends somebody, and then 42 cars do it. I'm thinking, didn't anybody give the car in front of them any space so they could avoid this? And all these cars pile up, and you're thinking, who was paying attention? Clearly, no one.
Yeah, it can be really challenging, and I think weather plays a huge factor as well. Whether it's ice, snow, rain, that's going to impact your stopping distance, your vehicle's control, and bottom line, when there's wet weather out on the roads, you can't drive as fast as you would when it's sunny and dry, and I think that kind of goes along with this study, though, that folks don't really understand the impacts, the ramifications of what could be happening when they're speeding. I'll point out, one kind of quick other note, countermeasures. The survey looked at what would be most likely to get drivers to slow down. Avoiding a speeding ticket was number one, with about 80% saying that'd be most effective. And that's fair, right? Nobody wants to get hit with a fine, but, avoiding a crash was below that, which, from a safety perspective, that should be number one, right? Keeping yourself, your passengers safe. But right. No, it's getting caught, in the act. And so I think that's just kind of...
It's all about me. I don't care about that other driver. Yeah.
That goes to the perception of speeding and kind of highlights what this study, one of the main takeaways from the study. There's just this perception around speeding that really needs to change. And it, again, kind of starts with driver's attitude and driver's mentality.
Yeah, and that's true. And leave the house 10 minutes earlier, guys, or at least on time. Give yourself that extra cushion, because that extra, 5 minutes that you're trying to save, usually you're not going to make it up. Even if you speed from light to light, you're not going to make up the time. And keep yourself safe by giving yourself some time. Then you're more relaxed when you're behind the wheel, and you can actually focus and not be frantic because you're late.
It is. It's a much more relaxing, enjoyable experience anytime you're not rushed. It really, think about it now. If listeners are wanting to try it out, on a relaxed drive, when you're not rushed, really focus on that. And that could be, most of the time, even on your commute to work, just leaving yourself a little bit more time to account for traffic, account for backups. And that way you're not having to speed to get to where you're going.
Absolutely. Bad. And nobody likes a ticket. And that's true. And we've all gotten them. And that just sucks. And Nick Chabarria, thank you for joining us from AAA Missouri. Appreciate your time on the Mark Reardon Show.
Absolutely. Hope everybody stay safe out there.
Stay safe. Give yourself 5 extra minutes. Okay. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. I'm Heidi Harrison from Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Thank you to Keith on X, who sent me a picture of this. It's an accident eastbound 70. And it's really close to Wentzville Parkway. They've got the left lane blocked, and traffic is just a parking lot behind this thing. Oh, it's back to Forest Dell. And westbound is jammed as well, and that's back near Lake St. Louis Boulevard. And all of this is jamming up eastbound 64 back to Lake St. Louis Boulevard as well. Well, now we have an accident southbound 170. This one just south of Olive. They've got the right lane blocked there, and there's some slow-moving traffic behind it. We've got southbound 141 pretty slow, headed for 6440. Now, we've got a huge jam on westbound 270. Anywhere from Route 3 to Riverview is a slow go, but eastbound is fine if you're headed into Illinois. And westbound 64, Kings Highway out through McCausland. Eastbound is slowing east of Lindbergh through Big Bend before that huge jam out west. And plenty of volume southbound 270. It's moderate, but it's Olive down through Gravois. On the Illinois side, 64 westbound jams approaching 157. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. This report is brought to you by Midwest Gun Works. When it's time to repair or upgrade your firearm, get the right part the first time. Since 1997, Midwest Gun Works has been a trusted source for OEM parts, accessories, and expert gunsmithing. Shop MidwestGunWorks.com or visit them in Peevely, Missouri. That's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
We're here to celebrate America's 250th birthday in 2026. This is 97.1 FM Talk. America 250 is sponsored by Paramount Men's Medical Center.
Mark Cox here. Celebrate the month of August with Zero Res. They're offering you 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $119. That's $106 in savings. You can book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings.
I want to talk to you about Greg Hammonds at GregHammonds.com. There are 3 good reasons you should talk with Greg. 1, your health insurance premium is too high. Well, Greg saves most people 30 to 60% on their monthly premiums. 2, your deductible is too high. Well, with most of Greg's plans, you will have no deductible or out-of-pocket expenses. 3, your doctor doesn't take your plan. Well, you can use Greg's plan at most any doctor or hospital in the country. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive. Call Greg, an expert with over 40 years' experience, at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to GregHammonds.com. That's GregHammonds.com. Greg will customize a plan chosen and managed by you, not the government. Because you don't know what you don't know about your health insurance coverage.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
I'm Matt Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. I've had the privilege of seeing miracles, broken families rebuilt, every crash, every workplace injury, every medical mistake. Fighting back can work. We've gone toe-to-toe with insurance giants, and we've won a lot. Over $30 billion recovered. Size matters. Reputation matters. Results matter. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Heidi Harrison for Mark Reardon as he takes a couple of days off to kick around the golf course. BMW tournament this weekend. Big money. Big money in this tournament, too, by the way. It'll be fun to see. I saw this story, and I just had to mention it, guys. This is out of Madison County, Illinois. A man has been found guilty of a home invasion that occurred in 2025. But here's what caught my attention about it. His name is Jesse Stewart, 42 years old. Was found guilty in a bench trial for breaking into a couple's home July 4th, 2025. According to testimony during the trial, the couple woke up after hearing someone inside their home. The woman called 911. I can't imagine anything more terrifying. Now, I have a lot of dogs, so you're not going to get real far without me not being aware of it. It's funny, when I first got married, my husband likes to sleep with quiet, and I like to sleep with the TV on. We're still working it out 24 years later. Okay, we're still working it out. But he likes quiet. I like noise. And he would say when we first got married, he said, well, yeah, but I want to hear if something's happening. And I said, that's why I feed dogs. It's their job. If someone steps on a twig outside, that's their job. Anyway, so they hear a guy in their house. The woman calls 911. Are you listening to this, Sue? This is crazy. The man grabbed a gun as the intruder entered their bedroom. You ready for this? Gets better. But the homeowner did not fire a shot. Now, I don't want someone to kill anybody else. Nobody wants a loss of life. But the guy's in your bedroom. You have a gun. I'm stunned that he didn't shoot him. If I was his wife, I'd probably be, could have gone terrible. Could have gotten a lot worse. But the testimony of the trial detailed that the man and Stewart fought inside, the homeowner and Stewart, the assailant, fought inside the home until police arrived and he was arrested. So, okay. I'm trying to understand, just based on the facts I have here. You have a gun. I'm not advocating killing other people, folks. You have a gun. This guy's in your bedroom. I'm sorry, and your wife's in the bedroom. Is there anything else you need to do? What kind of a beta guy is this? I'm trying to figure this out. Okay. I don't know. I'm judging. I don't know what happened, but I'm judging. I am judging. It's crazy. What's the point of having a gun? And what's going to trigger you, no pun intended, to actually take action, sir, if the man is in your bedroom and you're still like shaking with a gun? Oh, I've got a gun. Oh, brother. Okay. Anyway. Okay. Here's some good news from the go woke, go broke side of the aisle. Ted Cruz is taking a victory lap because Nike's stock has gone down. They've lost nearly $200 billion in market value since 2021. I guess what Ted Cruz is talking about, I did not. Did you ever see the Betsy Ross shoe that they were talking about making? Ethan, are you familiar with that? The Betsy Ross shoe? Am I talking to myself here? I guess I am. Okay. The Betsy Ross shoe. They were supposed to make it, and then I guess they decided not to, maybe for political reasons, who knows? But Trump is liking the fact that apparently he said when they decided not to make the Betsy Ross themed shoe, the company lost me. Ted Cruz said, for my whole life, I wore nearly 100% Nike for athletic wear. He said, Kaepernick pissed me off, but when they canceled the Betsy Ross shoe, it showed their marketing plan was America hate. I went out and bought brand new shirts, shorts, T-shirts. Turns out I wasn't the only one. So their stock price hit a 12-year low, falling nearly, as I mentioned, nearly 80% since 2021. Listen, companies have the right to do anything they want to. Another quick story here about companies having the right to do whatever they want to do real quickly. There's an Idaho coffee shop owner. He and his wife kicked out a group of pro-life people who were meeting in their restaurant. They came in, they paid for their food, they went and sat down, and they were having a little meeting, a pro-life meeting. 15 people. And they were talking about a ballot measure that would legalize abortion. They were just discussing it quietly in the restaurant. Well, the owner of the restaurant, figured this out and kicked them out of the restaurant. The owner said, this is my place of business. I did a lot of work to help get people to get on the ballot so women would have the right to choose. And this is something I do not support, nor does my wife. I'm sorry, this is the husband. So we have that choice. So they kicked them out of the restaurant. Now, they have the right to do that. But unfortunately, they've had a lot of hate, which is terrible. They're saying that they've gotten a lot of hate from people, and that's not okay, guys. In a situation like that, just don't go to the restaurant. If you're in Idaho or passing through Idaho or any place where you hear about something like this happening, there's no reason to be hateful, nasty, rude, saying nasty things on social media, saying nasty things to them, because then you're like the other side. You want to do that? As a business owner, it seems to me you have the right to decide who you want in your business or not. They have the right to refuse service. So they told these people to leave, which of course is ridiculous, but they're allowed to, and they should be allowed to. But I don't think it's right for our side to be sending them hate and all that kind of stuff. That's wrong. All kind of wrong. That's not the way to handle things, folks. We're supposed to rise above it, aren't we? Yeah. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Oh, we have a serious problem on eastbound 70 this afternoon. There is a jackknife tractor trailer accident, and it's really close to Wentzville Parkway. And it's so bad that it is blocking the entire eastbound lanes. And for a while, they had the westbound lanes completely shut down as well. I've put this on X at Susan6768 if you want to see what I'm talking about. So now the left lane is blocked westbound, but eastbound 70 remains closed, and it is a parking lot jam that goes back past Highway A. Westbound is jammed. That's the westbound jam. Eastbound is jammed back to Forestdale, and westbound 64 is lined up at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It is awful. Now, that is the worst of it by far. Now, we also have an accident. Southbound 170, this one was south of Olive. They've got the right lane down there and a jam behind that. Other than that, it's been the usual volume. If you're eastbound on 40, it's slowing east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. Westbound lines up at Kings Highway. And southbound 270, slow pockets south of Olive, down through 44. On the Illinois side, 64, jammed in both directions. And it's westbound that goes as you approach 157, and it's slowing east and westbound between 157 and 159. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
If you haven't had your roof checked in the last 5 years, it's time for roof maintenance. Mark Cox here for my friends at Corel Roofing Company. Listen, Curtis is going to come out, or a member of his crew, and get up on your roof for free to see what's going on. If you've got damage, I can't think of anyone better to work with your insurance adjuster to get that coverage. Recently, Curtis went to bat for one of his customers and got her coverage from 2024 storm damage with 2024 deductibles. He works hard at this and he prides himself, and he took his whole crew to Kansas City recently for additional training working with adjusters to make sure you get what you deserve. Corel Roofing has crews with over 20 years of experience, and it doesn't matter what kind of shingles you need, they've got you covered. 314-222-9529. That's 314-222-9529. Tell them Mark sent you. Go to CorelRoofingCo.com.
Public schools, like public libraries, should be free and open to all. Open enrollment allows parents to choose the school that's the best fit for their children. Maybe another school has a wider curriculum, is bigger or smaller. Maybe a kid is being bullied and would be more comfortable at another school. 75% of parents favor open enrollment. Open enrollment programs now exist in 43 states, and Missouri should join them. Our next-door neighbor, Kansas, has one of the strongest open enrollment policies in the nation. Kansas parents are trusted with choices and options, while Missouri parents must move out of their home to change public schools. And it's a trend. Nationwide, the percentage of students going to their chosen public school has steadily increased. Assigning kids to schools based on their zip code is the old way. Open enrollment is a better way. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
A common question I receive is, how is the market right now? It just seems so volatile. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. If you want to buy or sell but feel overwhelmed by the whiplash of the market, then let's talk. With over 23 years as a broker, I have the exact experience you need to help you navigate this tricky market. Call me at 314-441-4444. 314-441-all-4s. And remember, why pay more than two?
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Can't get enough 97.1? Follow us on socials. Facebook, X, Instagram at 97.1 FM Talk, and YouTube at 97.1 FM Talk STL. 97.1 FM Talk. Let's connect. KFTK FM Florissant.
An Odyssey station.
She planned to bomb the New York State Capitol. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. An Albany woman under arrest in what authorities say was a plot to kill state lawmakers. 35-year-old Jessica Bowie had been under surveillance for more than a month as she communicated with a confidential informant posing as an ISIS facilitator.
This defendant was radicalized online and spread messages of hate and violence against the American people.
Assistant U.S. Attorney John Sarcone, authorities say Bowie planned to flee the country after the attack, but said she would be willing to return to launch more attacks on the White House or in Times Square on New Year's Eve. Philadelphia police say they've identified the man they say has been terrorizing people on the street in Center City while wearing a Chucky Halloween mask. DA Larry Krasner says they believe the man may have left the area.
We have reason to know that Zymir Hughes is trying to avoid a warrant for his arrest on misdemeanor and felony charges.
Krasner says Hughes has ties to California and Nevada. Police asking any victims to come forward. The aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, which has been deployed for 270 days in the Middle East, finally heading back to its home port of San Diego.
The USS George Washington arrived in the Middle East yesterday to replace the Lincoln. The switch comes as concerns about the Lincoln have been growing, with reports of a stressed-out crew, bad plumbing, and supply shortages. images.
Fox's Jill Nato, the Army's top general, has directed a Europe-based unit specializing in drone warfare to shut down and revert to traditional infantry roles. The 173rd Airborne Brigade has spent over a year experimenting with drones. Wall Street stocks had their worst loss in 3 weeks. The Dow lost 703, the Nasdaq minus 263, the S&P off 66. The price of Brent crude rose 2.4%. America's listening to Fox News.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil. One simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to metamucil.com for more details.
Ice Cube's Big 3 season has come down to this. The Big 3 Championship is coming to Charlotte. Who will be crowned the Big 3 Season 9 champion? Plus the Big 3 All-Star Game. The biggest names in the game, all on one court, one more time. 2 games of the most physical, competitive, and non-stop 3-on-3 action. The game played the way you love. Watch live Saturday on CBS at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and catch replays Monday on BET.
Yay, yay! Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
No complaints at all with our weather pattern, all thanks to the northwest flow. Delightful this evening, clear and nice overnight, 67. Friday, plenty of sunshine. What a beautiful morning. 88 for the high in the afternoon. Friday night, partly to mostly clear, 69, maybe a spot thunderstorm. Saturday, early morning storm. Otherwise, partly to mostly sunny, 86. And Sunday, sunny and 83. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon. Having a great afternoon hanging out with y'all. He's hanging out on the golf course. He'll be there all weekend long, and I hope he has a very good time. He'll be back on Monday, of course. This is pretty scary. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, did I mention Treasury Secretary? Apparently said he really doesn't understand the spike in oil prices. Huh? Well, if you don't, who's supposed to? I don't know. Jeff Mordock is here, White House correspondent for the Washington Times. Jeff, I'm worried about that comment.
It's not a great comment. It's disturbing because I think most people also know why there's a spike in oil prices. It's because the Iran war in the Strait of Hormuz. It just seemed like he didn't want to come out and say it, and he didn't know what to do, so he pretended he just didn't know the answer to the question.
That's pretty funny. By the way, I hear you moved to my fair city.
I have. I am actually probably just not that far from you as I talk to you, and it's a great city. I love it here.
Well, if you love it here when it's 107, you'll love it in October. I'll tell you that. That's good.
Well, I love the heat. The heat is what I like. It's 107. I'm outside on the deck, and it feels wonderful.
That's so funny. Well, that's great. Great to have you in Vegas. So talk to me a little bit. Let's start with this Natalie Harp thing. To me, it seems like just garbage and gossip. And I cannot believe that they're going after her and trying to cast aspersions on her employment. I mean, really, Trump's 80 years old. He's going to chase after this girl and risk his presidency. I mean, really? Come on. Who believes that?
Oh, your phrase of garbage and gossip is the perfect 2 words to describe all this. This is completely ridiculous. The poor woman is a cancer survivor. I have actually dealt with her numerous times at the White House. She is one of the nicest, most helpful people you will deal with, which I cannot say that a lot about people in Washington, but that's been my personal experience. John Ossoff, he's vulnerable. He knows he's in trouble with Mike Collins. He's desperate. He wants to show that he can be a fighter because that's what the Democrats want. They say nobody's fighting for them. And he decided to go below the belt and try and position himself as a guy who's willing to go below the belt to go after Trump. That's what this is about. It's about saving his flailing campaign against Mike Collins. And we'll see what happens. But yes, it's innuendo. It's gossip. It's unfair. The poor woman is a cancer survivor. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. So where's I mean, I understand the left's not going to defend this, but really, if you really cared about women like the left claims to, they would go, wait a minute, don't be assuming that because, and Trump, let's be honest, Trump likes pretty things around him. He doesn't have ugly women on his staff in any way, right? He likes pretty things, but that doesn't mean you're not qualified.
No, that's 100% right. To your point, if you go into, so in the White House, when you're a reporter, there's a section called lower press where it's young women who help reporters, they answer questions, they get you press releases, all of that. Most of those women are our former beauty pageant queens in some way. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine joked with me that Trump should change the slogan to make America hot again. So
Right. That's the whole point. You go back to DC, you see that all over the place. So it's just, frankly, it's ridiculous, the whole idea. So now Ossoff, obviously, I mean, is this going to do anything for his campaign, do you think?
I think it brought him some attention for a little bit, but come November, October, when people want to talk about the real issues, is anybody going to remember this? There's not a lot of news going on right now. It's a slow August. The president's been wrapped up with the Iran war, so he hasn't been releasing a lot of new initiatives, at least at the rate he was. It's some temporary airtime, but come November, nobody's going to remember this, and it's not going to help him.
No, and obviously there's August recess, so not much going on. The polling numbers, we don't, it's hard to really rely on polling numbers this time of year. But what are you thinking for the midterms? What are you, what's your, thought? Because obviously all of us knew the situation in Iran was not going to be over by the midterms. Everybody with half a brain cell knew that. What do you think it's going to portend for the midterms?
In terms of how, well, first of all, I think it's going to be very difficult for this president. I think it's going to be very. I don't see the Republicans doing well. I do think they keep the Senate. I think they lose the House. I think the White House seems to know that by the number of people that have been leaving. I think one of the reasons why Caroline Leavitt left is they want to bring somebody in there with some kind of legal experience who can sort of talk about the subpoenas, possibly, likely the impeachment that will come if the Democrats take the House. And I think they wanted somebody out there with more of a legal mind to try to, or legal background, I should say, to try to explain some of these things.
Really? Wait, that's important.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't want to step away from that. This is important, Jeff, because I hadn't thought about this. We're talking with Jeff Mordock, White House correspondent for the Washington Times. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Mark. I had not thought about that. So I just thought Caroline was stepping away because she wanted to be a mom to her children, which is fantastic. I champion that. It's wonderful. But you think Trump wanted to bring in somebody as the press secretary who would have more of a legal mind when it comes to this kind of thing? I hadn't thought about that.
I think that's part of it. I think she did want to step away and be with her family, but I also think it looks like if you look at this administration, for example, James Braid, the legislative director, he left today. He's going to be leaving in September. He's the chief White House liaison to Congress. And he's getting out, and you see these departures, and they start to add up, and they start to show a pattern of people kind of leaving before the midterm and a different switch. And it looks like they're trying to get in somebody who's going to be more of an attack dog with Congress because they're going to have a much more hostile Congress. But back to Caroline, Elena Abba is widely considered to be the favorite to be the press secretary. She was, she's got a legal mind, a legal background. At one point, the president tried to make her the U.S. attorney. That went through a whole legal process. She is, as we were talking about earlier, the president likes pretty things. She's an attractive woman. She seems to be the favorite, and I have to believe part of that is why she is the favorite.
Well, I thought I saw something today, and you're on top of this more than I am, but I thought I saw something today where she said, I don't want it. I could be wrong.
Well, yes. And in Washington, though, everybody says they don't want it.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything, right?
That doesn't, yeah. I've learned that. So many people I've written stories, they don't want it, and then a week later, they got the job, so.
Right. They're just holding out for more money or whatever, their better terms or whatever it might be. Interesting. Okay, that makes sense. That makes absolute sense. You're not going to get the truth. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because Caroline, oh my gosh, she was amazing. I mean, gosh, God bless her. She was so rapid fire and just unflappable, and that is really tough.
The thing that I don't think she ever got enough credit for was her willingness to move around the briefing room and go to outlets that don't traditionally get called on. And I don't think she ever got the credit she deserved for that. I went through all 4 years of Joe Biden's administration. I could tell you which outlet they were going to go to first, which outlet they were going to go to second, which outlet they were going to go third. You cannot do that with Caroline. She moves around the room. She doesn't seem like she has a planned strategy of calling on people's favorites. She'll call on people, and she'll give people a chance who have not traditionally get called on in the room. And I think that should be more of her legacy than it has been, at least so far when people have been talking about it.
Are you going to go on the record here, Jeff Mordock, and say that Caroline Leavitt did not get enough credit for how great she was? Is that what you're going to say? Because that's...
I didn't say how great she was. I just said for calling on people, and I'm going to...
Right, but she was great. That's my point. I mean, we've all watched these people, the people who worked for Biden. I mean, they stumble, they bumble. I mean, she was boom, 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 boom. And at 28 years old, I mean, to me, she had so much on the ball. Incredible.
Well, but one thing I thought was always interesting is, sitting through those Karine Jean-Pierre briefings, is she could give Lane Kifflin lessons in how to run out the clock. There was always these long-winded answers. Right. There were always these, pauses. And it was really like she was trying to get to that 45-minute mark so she could just declare it as an. Whereas you point out, Caroline, boom, 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 boom. She's going to sit there and get as many people in as she can in that 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she was incredible. I didn't realize they had a time limit on it, but as you were talking, I was thinking about all the years I've done radio, and you get politicians on and talk about running the clock out. They know exactly how much time you have, and depending on who the politicians are. I mean, I've interviewed Governor Kehoe, people like that who are great. Josh Hawley, people like that are great to have on, and they actually give you answers. But there are a lot of them who will not ever come to the point, and they'll run the clock out. Drives you crazy.
Yeah, 100%. I hope I'm not doing that on the phone with you today.
You are not. You are excellent and
Great.
concise because you know what you're doing. But you know what I'm talking about with politicians. They will dance around it. They'll do everything except answer the question. Oops, out of time. They know what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. They'll begin it with, well, thank you for, thank you for that question. I appreciate you asking me that question. It's a good question.
Right. And there goes 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
That is true. So we don't really know. You said you think they're going to lose the House, but they'll keep the Senate. So it's just hard to know because no one really pays attention really until after Labor Day for the most part.
That's true. And keep in mind, Trump and Republicans tend to underpoll because of, there's sort of a stigma, as you're aware of, when people identify themselves in polls as conservatives or Trump supporters. So they tend to not say that. So I always find Republicans, especially Trump, always tends to underpoll than what we see when the results come out. So I think that's also a factor. But, we're having this conversation here in late August. We still have all of September. We still have all of October. We still have a part of November. So a lot can change.
Right. Now, final question here when we're talking about the polls and all that kind of stuff. When it comes to people coming back from obviously from the break and this and that, I totally lost my train of thought. I was going to ask you something so important. I don't write my questions down. This is why. Oh, I know what it was. I was going to mention this week there were some losses for the Freedom Caucus people, and there are some people saying, well, Trump, he's lost his edge. People he has supported don't necessarily win now. What do you say to that, Jeff Mordock?
I say look at Florida. I thought, his record in Florida was particularly strong. You look at some of his record of endorsements, they've been particularly strong. I would have to disagree with that based on some of the recent results we've seen.
Yeah, well, that's good stuff. I mean, and hopefully you and I'll get out for coffee now that you're in Vegas, my hometown. I'm glad to have you in Vegas. We need clear thinking people in this town, Lord knows.
Absolutely. Reach out to me. I'm always happy to get coffee.
Absolutely. That'll be great. Jeff Mordock, White House correspondent, Washington Times. I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
This jackknife tractor trailer is eastbound 70 at Wentzville Parkway, and it is blocking both eastbound lanes. It's kind of wedged in between the median and part of the construction zone, the outer concrete wall. So we are completely shut down eastbound 70, and it's a jam getting closer and closer to Wright City. Just awful. Now, for a while, it had the westbound lanes blocked as well, but right now it's only the left lane westbound that is blocked. And we've got a parking lot jam behind that one as well. And it's getting closer and closer to Bryan Road. Right now it's at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. And it's jammed up westbound 6440, trying to make that merge with 70. It's a parking lot back to Lake St. Louis Boulevard as well. Please avoid that area if you can. We've got an accident southbound 270 at 70. Westbound 6440, we had one approaching Ballas. That reported in the right lane. And southbound 170 south of Page, accident there in the right lane. Other than that, the usual volume. Now, southbound 270, for instance, from Olive down through, it looks like Marshall Road. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64 just jams approaching 157 to 255. Sue Thomas with traffic, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day and nothing worked until Mark Patrick hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food, crazy, enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again, my blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Lose weight or stop smoking with Hypnosis, only $59.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. That's right, seminars Thursday, September 17th, Radisson Hotel, Fairview Heights and Fairview Heights. Weight loss hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Or Saturday, September 19th, Holiday Inn St. Louis, Creve Coeur, St. Louis. Weight loss hypnosis, 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
License number GL250000615.
You're cooking dinner. The lights go out. You flip the breaker and forget about it.
But what if it keeps tripping?
Trips once, your breaker's doing its job. Keeps tripping? That's a warning. Bad wiring or something worse.
Do people just keep flipping it?
Most do, until they can't anymore.
Call Grasser. We'll stop the trip.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Hey, it's Annie, and I'm here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. Stewie, if there's one thing I know, it's that people are looking for cash right now. And the mortgage being the biggest bill that most people have, is it the right time to refinance or even just restructure their current mortgage?
You know what, Annie? My wife came over to me yesterday and said, you know what, honey? I love you, and your love gives me thrills, but unfortunately, it don't pay my bills. So here's what we're going to do. Do the bagel loan. If you financed your house over the last 3 years, rates are lower today than they've been over that period of time. Call me. We can refinance, save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month. Now, many people out there think they have a low rate, but maybe you're paying the PMI or maybe you have an FHA loan. You have to look at the total picture, and that's the mistake people make. They say, hey, I'm in a great position. I can't do better. Wrong. 9 out of 10 people that call us with the same conversation, hey, I'm just calling you just to see. We end up refinancing them and saving them lots of money.
Call Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage, and remember the bagel loan, no closing costs. 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
Mark Reardon is St. Louis conservative.
I'm Heidi Harrison from Mark Reardon. I'm not into this. Are any of you folks here this evening? We got Ethan. We got Fred. We got Sue. Anybody into these fancy schmancy Lego sets? Anybody? Nobody? I don't even understand it. I have a friend who actually puts those together for fun. Like things that look like spaceships and all these kinds of things. And apparently it's a big deal. I don't know anything about that world. I've seen some of them and look complicated. That's the last thing I would find relaxing, but that's me. Anyway, the reason I mention this is because there was a vehicle found in California, in Southern California, that had Lego sets worth nearly $30,000 in the car. Lego sets. 30,000. Who knew that this? I don't understand these new ones at all. I don't even get it. Don't understand it. All right. Let me mention this because I think this is a kind of a big deal and it hasn't been talked about as much as it should. Carmelo Anthony is that teenager who killed the 17-year-old athlete at a high school track meet. Remember that whole story? And he's been sentenced. Now he gets a new trial, apparently. But what's interesting to me is the reason they're giving him a new trial, apparently, is because the judge, they're asking for the judge to be removed, but he did a TV interview in which he said jurors got it right when they delivered a guilty verdict. Well, as a judge, I mean, you're entitled to have an opinion on a case that's already been adjudicated. You have to listen to it fairly and you have to make sure both sides are represented and everyone's rights are protected. But the idea that you're not going to have an opinion is crazy. Shameless plug, I'll put it out there. I'm doing a new podcast called Vegas Crime Files. And you can find that on the Odyssey app or anywhere you get podcasts of Vegas Crime Files, all firsthand accounts of things that have happened. And I was talking to the latest podcast coming out next week is going to be about a woman in Vegas we call the Black Widow of Vegas because she killed her fancy schmancy real estate developer husband. He knew she was going to do it. He suspected she was going to do it. And she ultimately did it. And then she went on the lam, and America's Most Wanted profiled her a bunch of times, the most of any female murderer at that time. And ultimately they caught her, and you'll have to just listen to the podcast for the whole thing. But the judge actually said, this judge was quite a character in Vegas. He was a real, I don't mean in a bad way, just quite a character on the bench. And he actually said, after listening to all the evidence, which you will hear in the next podcast, all the evidence, he said, well, it could have gone either way. Huh? What? Could have gone either way? I mean, they had so much evidence against her. It was crazy. And it all fit together. You don't have to get a confession to have a case that's solid, right? But anyway, the reason I mentioned that is in the case of this Carmelo Anthony, this kid who's supposed to go to, who's sentenced to 35 years in prison. But for the judge to say that the jurors got it right when they delivered the guilty verdict, well, you're entitled to have an opinion. The trial's over. You're entitled to have an opinion. Because sometimes the jurors don't get it right. And you have to sit back as the judge. And I'm sure, I mean, let's be honest, 50% of the time in a courthouse, people aren't happy. 50% of the people who walk out of courthouses are not happy every single day. 50%. Somebody didn't get what they wanted. And the judge is going to have an opinion. And sometimes it's open and shut in the judge's mind, but he or she still has to make sure everybody has, gets their rights protected and all that, and all the evidence is presented. Because the last thing a judge wants is to have a case go to trial and something comes back and then they decide that they're going to overturn it. I was almost seated a few years back on a child molestation case. And I have put on Facebook in the past that I believe child molesters should be thrown over Hoover Dam. I stand by that, by the way. And so they found that on my Facebook page, the lawyers. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't be completely fair in evaluating somebody sitting in the courtroom, because everybody in the courtroom is presumed innocent until proven guilty. That's the way you have to approach it as a juror. Now, there are a lot of prosecutors who will say, listen, there's so many cases that we plead out and this and that. By the time somebody gets to that defendant's table, they're guilty. Well, okay, you may think that, but as a juror, I'm not allowed to think that. Because there are people who are falsely prosecuted. We all know that. Falsely convicted. We know that too. And they had seen what I had written on Facebook about child molesters. Now, like I said, I would have absolutely not had any preconceived notions about this defendant. I would have listened to the evidence objectively and fairly, because people do lie about sexual assault, even children. So I would have, but the reason they didn't wind up keeping me on the jury is because they were concerned, the guy was convicted ultimately, they were concerned that if the guy got convicted, the other side would go, yeah, but she, she's a talk show host. And and she put the stuff on her Facebook page about how child molesters should be thrown over Hoover Dam and blah, blah, blah. Well, that would be subject to appeal. Of course it would. The fact that I have strong feelings about child molesters doesn't mean that I couldn't objectively listen to a case and listen to the evidence, because of course I could. I was almost on another jury trial where this young man some kids in Vegas, some rich white kids, kind of formed a gang, and they were terrorizing neighborhoods, and they were throwing rocks through windshields of cars, and they threw a very large rock through the windshield. Someone threw a large rock through the windshield of the car, and this child who was 16 years old was disfigured as a result. Terrible, terrible thing. So the kid goes to trial, and they asked me on the stand, they said, have you ever talked about this case? And I said, no, I've talked about his associates. And I was real careful not to use the word gang, even though they called themselves that. I didn't want to use that word because I didn't want to prejudice anybody else who was sitting there as a potential juror. And I said, I've talked about his associates, but I've never talked about him because they had kept his name out of the papers. And ultimately, they didn't keep me on the jury. Same reason, probably because of what I do for a living, which is fine. But there was a woman a couple of seats away from me, and they said, can you be fair in judging this case? And the woman said, no. And they said, why not? She goes, I just feel so sorry for that little boy. And I thought, ma'am, I feel sorry. Everyone is sitting here feels sorry for that little boy who's been disfigured, but that doesn't mean that other little boy this kid was 16 or 17, the defendant, that doesn't mean he did it. I mean, some people, she couldn't get past it. I feel so, well, the fact that you feel sorry for someone doesn't mean you convict whoever's sitting at the defendant's table. You've got to listen to the evidence. It was shocking, frankly. I guess I shouldn't be shocked because some people cannot put that aside. You feel that's how they win when they have medical malpractice or whatever. They always go to the jury because the jury, they bring them in a wheelchair, and regardless of who's at fault, somebody's going to pay, right? That's what the medical malpractice attorneys count on. They count on people's emotions. They feel so bad. Doesn't matter who actually is responsible. They go to whoever the company is that they can kind of tie to this situation, and that's where they get the money. Everyone knows how that works. But they always go to the jury because the jury can be easily swayed by emotion, and they know that. So anyway, we all want fair juries, and it's hard to get one, that's for sure. I'm Heidi Harris, in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
There was a tractor trailer that jackknifed eastbound on 70 at Wentzville Parkway. And for a long time, it had blocked both traffic lanes. And they, for a while, had both westbound lanes closed as well. Well, they've opened the right lane in each direction. But the damage is already done. We have a parking lot jam on eastbound 70 from just a little bit east of Wright City all the way to the accident. Westbound traffic is lined up at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. We've got westbound 6440 jammed back through Highway N. Just a mess out there. Then there was an accident southbound 270 at 70. And southbound 170 just south of Page. Watch for that one in the right lane. And southbound 270 has slow pockets from Olive down through 44. 55 slowing at Butler Hill. And also south of Highway M. On the Illinois side, we're fine on the bridges. 64 westbound, though, jams at 157. That all due to road work. And an accident reported eastbound 44 at Jefferson. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Why pay full insurance when you can customize and save? Switch to Liberty Mutual and they'll customize your auto and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. One of the biggest gifts you can give your family is peace of mind. That's why I trust and recommend Civia Law. They've helped so many families, including mine, right here in our community with estate planning, wills, trusts, powers of attorney, and elder law issues. I've seen how stressful it can be when a loved one passes without a plan. Families are left confused, sometimes tied up in probate court, and it can cost so much in time and money. But with Civia Law, you don't have to worry about that. They'll walk you through everything and even deliver your completed documents in just 2 weeks from your first appointment. And here's something special just for you. Mention the Annie Fry Show, and the first 10 listeners right now will get a free strategy session. That's a $300 value. 833-995-WILL. Just be sure to mention the Annie Fry Show when you call. Civia Law has 7 convenient locations across Illinois and Missouri, including in Edwardsville, Swansea, and Creve Coeur. Secure your legacy and protect the people you love. Call 833-995-WILL. That's 833-995-WILL, or visit CiviaLaw.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Gentlemen, Mark Cox here. When's the last time you actually felt like yourself? Victory Men's Health specializes in hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, and longevity. It's built for everyday men who just want to feel better and perform their best. They already have offices in Town and Country, Sunset Hills, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. They're about to open a new location in Glen Carbon very soon. It's a higher standard of care just waiting for you. Learn more at victorymenshealth.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Time is 5:33. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Built in the heartland for the heartland. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
From Mark Reardon. California can't get any weirder. Can it? Steve Milloy is here, senior fellow at the Energy and Environment Legal Institute, former Trump EPA transition team member, author of several books I've read. Good to talk to you again. It's been a while since we talked. I don't expect you to remember me, but I'm glad to have you on the Mark Reardon Show, Steve.
For having me back, Heidi.
You know what's so interesting? As I'm looking at this information about California, trying to decide what kind of tires you can have on your car and prevent you from getting the other ones. Listen, I know what it's like to be young, have no money, and drive on retreads. And that's what I did when I was young. And I would drive on the retread, and when it would blow out, I would get another $20 retread because that's what I could afford. And now California is trying to limit your ability to buy tires. Oh my gosh, Steve.
Well, so I guess I'm lucky to be talking to you at all. Yeah, so California wants to mandate the type of tires you buy. The type of tire they want you to buy is a lot more expensive, maybe 50% or more expensive. And the reason they want you to buy these expensive tires is because they roll better than regular tires, meaning that you'll get better gas mileage and you'll save the planet from burning up and turning into what is it, Al Gore calls the planet, a walk through the chapter of Revelations. This is stupid. I mean, we're California. First off, California could fall off the face of the earth, and even if it were true that greenhouse gas emissions were somehow affecting the climate, California just does not emit enough for that to matter. So the whole thing is just stupid. It's making people pay more for less, and I think it's actually unsafe because the way these tires work, they roll better because they're coated with something, or and so there's less friction, I guess, on the road. Of course, how do you stop your car? With friction. So
That was I was going to say.
there's
Yeah,
that.
that might be more dangerous.
Yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
But I mean, it's just typical California policy, and I don't know what the way out for California is. Even if Steve Hilton wins in November, the California General Assembly is 3-1 Democrats, and the Senate is 2-1 Democrats. And so, what would he inherit? He's going to inherit, Democrats.
I know, poor guy. We're speaking with Steve Milloy, senior fellow at the Energy and Environment Legal. I was thinking of you as an author. That's the first thing I want to say. Energy and Environment Legal Institute. Glad to have. No, let me explain this. And I don't. My husband's going to have to explain this to me later slowly. All right. Apparently, the new tires have a maximum rolling resistance of 9.1 newtons per kilonewton. I don't even know what that means, Steve. Can you explain that to me slowly?
Well, it just means they roll. They have a longer roll. The same force.
Okay.
They roll longer, and so that'll may slightly improve your gas mileage. But of course, you're going to blow all the saved gas mileage savings buying the tires, and then fixing your car after you have an accident. So the whole thing is crazy, and it's all for nothing. It's not going to improve the weather, the climate, anything. It's just, making life more expensive for people that live in California. And then you have to hope that these stupid policies don't get exported out of California into the rest of, the country.
In 2008, when Obama was doing the cash for clunkers thing and throwing all of these perfectly good SUVs that were a little older into the landfill, I have a friend who owns a couple of car dealerships in Arizona, and his client, they're used car dealerships. And he's not selling cars to wealthy people. He's selling cars to average people. And he said, I'm having a very difficult time getting a hold of cars. He said, my average client is a family. They've got a couple of kids, and they can't afford a new SUV. They want the older ones. That's all they can afford. And so once again, you're always putting the squeeze on the people who don't have a lot of money. And of course they would buy a brand new fancy schmancy car if they could afford it probably, but they can't. So they're the ones who always suffer.
Right. So when I was growing up in the 60s and 70s, a family owned a car for an average of about 5 years. Now it's 12 years. Because cars are so much more expensive. So
interesting.
We force people to drive older, less safe cars, for many foolish reasons, higher gas mileage, some of the safety stuff is not needed, but these pointlessly expensive tires, it's just ridiculous. And so no one can afford cars anymore. And then you have inflation and gas prices. And of course, the left doesn't care because they don't want you in your car to start with.
That is true. And of course, let's be honest. Can we just be honest here, Steve Milloy? California would be Haiti if it weren't for the federal government, the way they run their state.
California would be Haiti. Look, Gavin Newsom has chased the oil industry, or is chasing the oil industry out of California. But he realizes that California is still going to need gasoline. And so he's thinking that maybe the state can buy the refineries and have state workers working in the refineries. What could go wrong with that?
Well, that's it. And when you look at and this is kind of a regional thing, but I know you're paying attention to this. They're fighting over the Colorado River, and Nevada recycles 85% of its water. California does like 20%, and they're going to cut back on Nevada's water because the reason I make the Haiti joke is because if California had to rely and completely rely on their own policies with no help from the federal government, that's why I compare them to Haiti. So, but they don't save water. They don't have desalination plants. They don't do any of this stuff because of whatever environmental nonsense. And they're going to keep cutting everyone else's water because they won't make the right decisions when Nevada is doing a great job with the water and they're going to be penalized. I mean, this is what happens.
Yeah, no, California, they got that whole ocean to the left of them, and there's, painfully few desalination plants there. They could take a lot of pressure off the Colorado River. They don't want to do that. California has all this wind and solar power. When the wind and solar is not there, then they have to, drain the coal power from the rest of the West. And they even have this problem in Southern California where Mexico is dumping 50 million gallons of raw sewage a day into Southern California, and nobody seems to be able to do about it. And Gavin Newsom, he's not even close to taking care of that.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing is that the environmental things that they propose hurt people and don't really help the environment at the end of the day. And meanwhile, they've got these crowded freeways in California where they really don't have any way to make them any wider, and that's where a lot of their pollution is coming from. And it's funny too, if you see the old '60s, late '60s, early '70s cop shows, Chips, or you watch Columbo, you see the city. Adam 12, and you see the city's just as socked in with pollution then as it is now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, Southern California has made tremendous strides in cleaning up its air, but, because of the geography, it's still going to have bad air days. When the Spanish conquistadors sailed by in the 15th century, they noticed that there was haze over Los Angeles, even though there were no people there. It's just a natural. And of course, when you dump, 20 million people in there driving cars, if the wind doesn't blow, the air is going to be bad. What's the big surprise? It doesn't. What it means is that people need to live elsewhere. We don't need to make life so expensive for people there that no one can afford it.
Well, they have a high-speed train coming any day now, don't they, Steve?
Yeah, it probably only cost $1 trillion if they ever get it done. No,
everyone's lost track.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So even if Steve Hilton wins and becomes Governor Hilton, he's still going to have Democrats in the Assembly and in the Senate, and nothing's going to get done. It's going to be just like when Schwarzenegger was there, he couldn't get anything done.
Right. And for the people who are listening right now from Missouri and Illinois who might say, I don't care about California, they suck, who cares? Well, to your point that you made earlier in this conversation, what happens in California tends to leak over into other states. That's the problem.
Definitely Illinois. and definitely the blue states like Illinois. Maybe stop in Missouri, but Illinois, watch out.
Well, that's the problem. The bad ideas tend to just generate from there and spread around the country in all the blue states. And the next thing you know, everyone's like, yeah. And of course, the people who make the money off the tires, they're going to push this. And we all know what goes on behind the scenes. And at the end of the day, the air's not going to be one bit cleaner.
Yeah, no, and who knows where these tires are made? Eventually, they'll all have to be made in China, and do we really want to be doing that? No, I don't know what the solution to this is. It's just we live in a mad society, mad.
Well, it is, and I don't know if they think it's going to make it better or there are two kinds of people. There are the ones who don't care if it's going to be effective. They just want to have this dream of something, and they're the ones who know, and the other ones who know it's not going to be effective and still push it because it benefits them financially.
Well, yeah, I've got to say that there's probably a lot of lobbying. You get rules like this because of the corruption, right?
That's right.
California is a corrupt place, and so that's what's getting these tires in, and of course it's the regular people that pay the bill, and then they go ahead and vote for Democrats, and it's just.
That's right.
And it's like they have no choice.
Yeah, make them buy my tires, make them buy my light bulbs, whatever else, or make them buy my washing machine or my refrigerator, none of which last anywhere near as long as they used to, and on and on and on. And somebody behind the scenes is making a fortune off of it. As always, it never helps the environment. But anyway, thanks for being here, Steve Milloy. And by the way, should I mention your website, junkscience.com?
You can, and you can find me on X @junkscience.
Okay, junkscience.com. All right. Thank you, Steve Milloy. Great talking to you again. Appreciate you being here at the Mark Reardon Show. Thanks. Bye-bye. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Because it's always somebody benefiting behind the scenes. It's not the environment. It's not the people. And I can joke about it. I'm serious about the retreads. When I was young and had no money and drove an old car, I did drive on the highway with retreads, but I would drive around town with the retreads. And if you're not going that fast, okay, if the tire blow out, then I go buy another $20 tire because that's what I could afford. Nothing wrong with retreads, but they act like everybody's got money for all these new tires and fancy this and fancy that. Everyone doesn't have the money, and they don't care because it's their vision. It's going to make everybody broke. I'm telling you, California would be Haiti if it weren't for the federal government bailing them out. I'm Heidi Harris in for Mark Reardon.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Hey, some great news in traffic. They have reopened 70 in both directions at Wentzville Parkway. It had been closed in both directions for a while, and it was all due to a jackknifed tractor trailer. So traffic is starting to thin out through there. A new accident, though, being reported. This one southbound 270, just south of Ladue Road. Watch for that one in the right lane. and traffic is going to start to slow there. There was an accident, too, eastbound 44 near Jefferson and southbound 270 at 70. On the Illinois side, still a jam, westbound 64 approaching 157 to 255, and eastbound is still slow approaching 159. This report is brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they have been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. From windows to bathrooms, they deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas with Traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Mark Cox here. Join me for breakfast Friday, September 11th from 5 to 9 a.m. at Chicken Ellie's in Eureka. We're raising funds for Focus Marines Foundation. Proceeds go straight to supporting our veterans. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
It's motorcycle season in St. Louis. Time to ride. When the road gets rough and you're injured in an accident, you need someone who's got your back. You need Kaufman Townsley. We're local, we know St. Louis, and we don't settle unless it's what's best for you. When it's not, we go to trial, and we bring decades of experience with us. Kaufman Townsley. Real people, real results. Call 314-777-7777. That's 314-777-7777.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Go paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Here's a great offer from my friends at Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119. That's $106 in savings. You know Zero Res, the zero residue carpet cleaner. Mark Cox here. Listen, they leave your carpets truly clean with none of that dirt-attracting soap or harsh chemicals. Reach out today. This month, you're going to get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119. Call 314-474-2020 or visit ZeroResSTL.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
The Mark Reardon Show is St. Louis Conservative.
I'm Heidi Harris, in for Mark Reardon. He'll be returning on Monday. He's out at the golf course. I mean, I could lie to you, but it's the truth. And y'all know that because he was talking about it yesterday on his show. He's out there hanging out. It's a big deal, having this wonderful golf tournament in town. So he's enjoying that thoroughly. Here is the clip of the day. This is Gavin Newsom, who would love to be our next president. Oh.
Stand by. Playback ready.
Now, the audio cut of the day.
Would you be a good president? We'll see. I don't know. But what do you think you would? That's a difficult question to answer. I mean, it's so I have no idea. I would like to think I would be, but that's for others to determine. By the way, I think I was a pretty good mayor. I think I was pretty good, but people have different opinions, so I'm not naive about it.
Wow. Okay, first of all, where do I start with Gavin Newsom? And once again, if you're listening in Missouri and Illinois, you go, why do I care about the guy with the hair? And you don't, and I get it. But he wants to be our next president. He's not going away on the national stage. He's just not. And even if you don't want to be in political office, a higher political office, if somebody asks you, would you be a good president? You might say, well, yeah, I'd probably be good at that. I may not want to do it, but I could probably do it. You know, he wants to be the president. He wants the power. Can you imagine? I mean, to me, Gavin Newsom will be like hitting fish in a barrel. to try to get rid of him. I mean, honestly, because all you have to do is show videos of California, put that on the, anywhere, YouTube, wherever you put video, your ads now, run your TV ads, whatever you do, and run these ads and say, do you want America to look like this? It's real simple. This is the easiest guy in the world to get rid of, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Because even the craziest liberal who does not want to step over poop every single morning going to their office, which is what you do in San Francisco and places like that, because their policies are garbage. I mean, it's just frightening, some of the things that they want to do or don't do. They don't want to prosecute crime, and they want to, coddle all these homeless people. And homeless people, by the way, are human beings, and nobody's ever said they're not. And they are deserving of our compassion and our help. But where does the help end and the tough love begin? That's the question. It's always the question. The other day I was in my town of Vegas, and they had one of our brave police officers was killed by some loser. And they started the procession from the funeral home, and I went over there to watch the procession and videotape it to put it on my Facebook page, Heidi Harris Show. And there was a homeless guy walking by. He was about 10, 15 feet away from me. And he said, what's going on? Because there were cop cars everywhere, hundreds of cop cars. And I walked over to him to talk to him. And poor guy, his eyes are all bloodshot and everything. I don't know what his situation is. And I said, there's, and some people might recoil at somebody like that. I won't. And he didn't look harmful. He just was, homeless guy, clearly homeless. And I said, police officer was shot. And he says, that's terrible. And I said, yeah, I mean, part of me wanted to say, can I help you? Can I do anything for you? Why are you in the situation you're in? Can I help you? Can I, you want to take him somewhere, give him a shower and a change of clothes and turn his life around? So from the compassionate point of view, of course I feel that way. I don't understand why people want to live outdoors and be dirty. I don't understand that at all. But there are people who do. And they want to live outside, and they don't want to be told what to do or where to show up. And they don't mind living out in the dirt because that's where their friends are. So how do you sort those people out? I mean, you've got to have an intelligent policy. California does not. They want to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on these people, more than that, on homeless people, and they're not helping them. They're giving them housing first without actually addressing the problems. Most of the people who are out there have an addiction issue. And many of these people, if you talk to them, and it breaks my heart, but it's the truth, many of these people, when you talk to them, wind up on the streets, started out in a tough situation at home. Little kids, abuse, neglect, and then it just spiraled from there. And I'm not saying that you are not in charge of your own life, because you are. You have to make the right decisions no matter what you came from. But it's hard. And they're dealing with that. And sometimes they self-medicate because they're dealing with pain from the past and all that. But they don't want to deal with that in California. They just want to give everybody everything. Give them money, give them this, give them that, let them poop anywhere they want to, let them sleep anywhere they want to. No regard for personal rights or property rights or, and that's all you have to do. All the RNC is going to have to do is show all of these tents and RVs and all this stuff parked everywhere and say, is this what you want the entire country to look like? Because this is what the country would look like under Gavin Newsom. And that should be easy. I mean, it's stunning that anybody would consider this guy. And then I saw a poll the other day that AOC is actually looking like the front runner. Oh my gosh. I would love to see AOC and Marco Rubio on a stage together, or AOC and, Vice President Vance on a stage having a debate. Either one of them. That wouldn't even be fair, would it? Not even a fair fight. But there are people who voted for Kamala Harris who can't finish a sentence still. So I don't understand it. I don't know why. It's not because she's a liberal. I mean, Hillary Clinton's not stupid. She's liberal, but she's not stupid. Kamala Harris, my gosh, she couldn't talk her way out of a paper bag, and people voted for her. Go figure. All right, guys, I'm Heidi Harrison from Mark Reardon. I will see you tomorrow. Everybody have a great night. You can follow me on all the socials, Heidi Harris Show.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Reported eastbound 6440 just before Big Bend. But most of the volume is still out west. They have reopened 70 in both directions near Wentzville Parkway, but it was closed for quite some time due to a jackknifed tractor trailer. and that jammed up 70 westbound, but even on 64. So that's looking a little bit better, but it's still a slow go. Southbound 270, there was an accident at 70 causing a delay. And eastbound 44 at Jefferson, a slow go. On the Illinois side, 64 westbound, still lining up at 157, headed for the closure there at 255. This report brought to you by Spas and More. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Cam Jansen here. Don't miss the hot tub and swim spa blowout sale this weekend at the St. Charles Convention Center in the South Hall. Over 30 American-made units on display, immediate delivery, and financing available. For more info, call 1-800-SPA-SALE.
Why in the world would